the players are making their way out. The South Africans are going to field first, and this is a really great opportunity for this England side just to rack up a big confidence-building score. As I say, the crowd is coming in. The weather is fine. The clouds are high. There was a little smattering of rain when I arrived at the railway station. But since then, it has all become perfectly clement. There's a gentle breeze. The trees are wafting somewhat. Which I suppose, which way round is that going? Is it going from left to right? It is going from right to left. We've got a flag over yonder we can see. So, with her predictions and thoughts on the match, it'll be Georgia Elwes, and then to take you through the first 5 overs of this match, it'll be Emily Windsor.
Yeah, very looking forward to this evening, last game in this T20 series. I love seeing Sophia Dunkley walk out to open the batting, and the way her and Danny White go about their cricket is absolutely fantastic. So we'll look forward to seeing some of their attacking shots and see the start that they can get off to for England. Hello, Emily.
Hello, Georgia. I'm on, and we're going to be opening with spin. Very exciting. England batting first. Looks a new pitch out there, very green. The floodlights are on, but by no means are we using them as the players take the knee. Sarah Bartlett, the umpire, for the first over. A round of applause from the crowd. And it'll be Malaba to bowl the first over. Good move this from South Africa.
Yeah, something a bit different. I think both of these two batters known for liking pace on the ball. So I think I like it from South Africa. They've got to try something different, haven't they? They've got to find some solutions that works for them coming into a big Commonwealth Games next week. It comes around thick and fast.
Long on and mid-wicket, the two fielders outside the inner ring circle for the power play. And a ring field on the offside. As here we go then. Oh, she pulls out. I told a lie. She's just resetting. Dunkley was nearly ready. He was having a fantastic time opening the batting. First time doing it in this series. She's certainly going to go hard as we actually start this one time. Malaba in the air and taken! Sophia Dunkley gone. First ball. I jinxed her. Commentators curse, but caught at backward point, and Dunkley walks back to the pavilion.
Oh no, that is not what we wanted first up, was it? It was a wide ball. Sophia Dunkley, I think the slowness has done her there, and she's thrown her hands at it, but it's gone in the air. A simple chance there to point, and Sophia Dunkley she'll be kicking herself there. First ball of the game. Let's have a little look, but she hasn't, and the spinners work for South Africa, and look how pumped up they are. They know what a massive wicket that is. Removing the dangerous Sophia Dunkley, and she'll be so disappointed with that.
She certainly will, but what an opportunity this is for young Alice Capsey coming to the crease, batting at 3. In the game before, she was down the order and didn't get a chance to bat in her debut day, but she's out there second ball, Georgia.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure she would quite expected that, but she bats at 3 for a domestic team. I'm sure there's plenty of times where she's been in early on in her innings, and yeah, don't mind this. She's playing that role that we've seen Bryony Smith play in the first 2 T20s, and I think she'll look to be very aggressive here.
So it'll be the same field for Alice Capsey then. There's Malaba, the left arm spinner coming round the wicket to Capsey bowls, and off the back foot plays to Laura Walvar at backward point, but along the floor. 0 for 1 then South Africa. What a start from them. Final match in this multi-format series. England have won it, but South Africa have a point to prove as Malaba in bowls, and Capsey's gone to sweep it down the leg side. Signalled wide by umpire Sarah Bartlett. 1 for 1.
It's very green, that wicket, isn't it? It's not what I expected when I turned up to the ground. They've left a lot of grass on top of there.
Malaba to Capsey, and that's worked into the onside. Will be no run. Mid-wicket does the fielding. Kaka's in there. Dot ball, Malaba just scratching the floor where her foot would last, but it's definitely a fresh wicket. Usually see some turn here in Derby, but haven't seen a green wicket like this. As Malaba in, Capsey sweeps, and that's gone into the onside. Mid-wicket scurrying round. They're settled for the single. Capsey wanted 2. Danny Wyatt says no. Capsey's off the mark though. 2 for 1.
Yeah, signature Alice Capsey sweep shot. When I think about her batting, she plays that sweep shot really well. She'll do that to the spinners. Just a bit of experience there from Danny White saying, no, don't run yourself out, girl. She wants a bit of the strike and she wants in on the action.
Danny White had a fantastic game in the second ODI, going past 2,000 runs. As Malabat just sets herself again, Danny White just marking middle stump, giving herself room on that offside as Malabat in bowls, and in defence from Wyatt, back down the pitch. No run. Great over so far. 1 ball remains. It's 2 for 1. Exactly how South Africa would have wanted to start. As Malabat into Wyatt advances, and that's a thick outside edge. That's going to spin away from Wolvart, who's chasing after it, slowing up, and she should get there. Capsey's running hard, but they settle for 2. Wyatt again saying no. 4 for 1 then England after the first over, and we'll have a change in the commentary box. George Elwes is leaving us already, and we'll be joined by Anya Shrubsole. Proud day, Freya Kemp making her England debut.
Probably more proud for the Kemps, but yeah, it's really pleased to see her get a go here. She's a really exciting cricketer, and hopefully someone who'll have a long international career, and this is just the start of that today.
Anya's obviously has worked alongside her this summer for the Southern Vipers, bowling coach Anya Shrubsole. So she'd have done a lot of work with Freya Kemp, and we'll be seeing her in action in the second innings with the ball, no doubt. But she can bat as well.
Left-handed as well. It's not. We don't produce a lot of left-handed batters for some reason here in England, so that's a real added bonus for England down the order. It messes with the bowlers, messes with the fielders. So, in some respects, I hope she gets in, and I also hope she doesn't, because that means we've batted pretty well.
It'll be the right arm seamer of class. We'll be bowling to Capsey from the commentary end, and that's whipped outside the off stump, but only finds cover. So it's a dot ball. Did you like South Africa opening with spin?
I think it's a good ploy against Sophia Dunkley. Be interesting to see if they carry on. Danny Wyatt against left arm spin has got an unbelievable record, so I would probably whip them out of the attack now and get some seam back on, but it's worked, so you would say it's a good plan.
Class then, orange booted bowls to Capsey, who advances and hits that high in the air over mid on. 1 bounce 4. Capsey's not holding back there in her first boundary in international cricket. She moves to 5, 8 for 1 England.
It's something she really likes to do to the seam, kind of walk down the pitch, and I thought for a minute that was going straight to mid on, but she's absolutely nailed it. Not a kind of back of a length ball, flat batted down the ground.
Strapple. It's in already.
The back of the strapple. I hate the strapple.
I love the strapple.
I can't get on board with it.
Straight pull, strapple. Alex Capsey nailed it as Class comes in. And this time width outside the off stump, cut away over backward point. 4 more to Alice Capsey. She moves to 9, 12 for 1.
It's a poor ball by Class. First boundary was a good shot by Capsey. That's a poor ball and got the punishment. And Capsey is just someone who just looks at home. She's got a kind of swagger about her, a confidence about her that I think you need to succeed in international cricket. And just see her walking down the pitch, whacking it down the ground for 4, short and wide, whack that for 4. It's like she's been here all along.
That first boundary as well would certainly give her confidence, but now she has 2. And Class needs to find her line as she's in again to Capsey bowls. That's driven through covers. It will beat extra cover and mid off. She's chasing after it, and I don't think she's going to get there. She doesn't. 3 fours in a row from Capsey. She moves to 13, 16 for 1 England.
Got it all. Front foot game, back foot game. That's just a good cricket shot. Just what you can play in the power play. Just driven between extra cover and mid off, and shown that it's a pretty quick outfield here at Derby.
And you talk about the confidence she looks. She looks like she's at home already, and that's a really good trait. But she must have some nerves out there, Anya. Or not no more.
You'd have thought so, but I wouldn't be surprised if they've gone now.
Glass then 5 on her back. Tuva grip on her left arm. Not on her right because it's white and the ball is white as Class in. Shorter ball pulled away. This is another shot we see from Alice Capsey. She's hit it all around the ground. 4 more. That's 4 fours in a row from her. 20 for 1 England.
Well played. Badly bowled. She's got a fine leg up in the ring, kind of short and down the leg side, and that's gone for 4. So England are off to a fly now, having lost that wicket in the first over. Alice Capsey's hit 4 boundaries in a row. And England are off to a flyer.
Yeah, exactly what they would have wanted after losing Sophia Dunkley first ball of the innings. And Class was really bold, poor first over, 4 for 1 after the first, and now it's 20 for 1 and 1 ball remains. Class into Capsey, and she pushes that into the offside, a cry of no as Wolvart comes in quickly, and that's 2 overs gone, 20 for 1, and our TV's gone as well, Anya.
It's all going wrong. I think that was a slow ball by Class. So started the over well, finished the over well. Chaos in the middle.
Chaos in the middle, chaos in the commentary box. But we're all for that. We're here for that. And you called it as well. Kaka going to come into the attack. She impressed me in the first T20. She, for me, up top with the new ball and through the middle, was the pick of the South African bowlers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's the real underrated kind of member of this South African attack. Everyone thinks Ishmael and Cap, and they kind of forget about Kaka, and she has got an unbelievable record. She's got over 100 ODI wickets for South Africa and a brilliant T20 record as well, and she showed all of her class in that first T20, and she'll be massive for South Africa here without Ishmael.
So a long on and a mid-wicket out, which is quite unusual to a seamer starting up, to Danny Wyatt as well, who's so strong through the offside, but she bowls and that's angled in, and just an easy single to that empty mid-wicket gap. And great batting from Wyatt. She's not falling for the trap. She moves to 3, 21 for 1.
Okay, it may work, but Danny Wyatt is someone who is so offside dominant. I know Kaka swings the ball back in, but it gives her no margin for error with Danny Wyatt on strike and everyone on that offside up.
It's quite a defensive field as well, isn't it? Early on to Danny Wyatt, having the fielders out in front of square. But Kaka at the top of her mark will be bowling to Capsey, who's on 17 off just 9 balls. Kaka bowls, and that's down the leg side and worked past a fine leg in the circle, and that'll be 4 more runs to Alice Capsey.
It's international cricket's easy, isn't it?
Why hasn't she been out there earlier, Anya?
Well, who knows, but she must think this is easy. 10 balls faced, 21 on the board.
She'd be eyeing up 100, won't she, at this rate?
Easy as you like. There's some shape there for Kaka, but started too straight with fine leg in the ring. It's a really easy 4 runs there for Capsey.
Class then. From the far end, as we look from the commentary box, in bowls, and that's worked into an empty mid-on because they're at long on, and Capsey takes an easy option for a single. She moves to 22, 26 for 1, 2.3 overs gone. So she bowls similar shape to you. You bowl in swing. What's your go-to field up front to Danny Wyatt? What are your 2 fielders out?
I think I'd have a third man and probably a deep square just in front.
As Kaka into Wyatt. That's outside the off stump. Hip up and over. That's a gift. And Danny Wyatt joins the boundary club. She moves to 7, 30 for 1, England.
She's so offside dominant. She kind of stays leg side of the ball, and she's got quite an open bat face, and she just wants to hit the ball through the offside. So I think even if you're swinging the ball back in, you've got to have at least one fielder over there. I mean, that was probably 6th, 7th stump outside off stump, so poor bowling. I guess questionable field setting as well.
Not a great start for South Africa as Wyatt in, and that's down the leg side, just tucked away past the keeper. Fielder at fine leg in the circles, chasing after it, and she does well to get there, but no one's there supporting her, so they're going to come back for 3 quite comfortably. Wyatt to 10, and the score 33 for 1.
That one and Capsey's 4 down there, it shows the issues with this field. You've 2 on the leg side, you feel like you have to bowl really straight, but if you drift down the kind of leg side at all, fine legs in the ring, you get anything on it. England have got 7 runs down there this over, so your margin for error with this field is just so small.
Hand on hips then from Kaka, but potentially the plan is wrong. Chloe try on captain today, and that's hit down the ground by Capsey. Hit sweetly, but long on comes round, so it would just be a single. Capsey to 22 and 33 for 1, England.
This has been a great start, barring the first ball. Apart from that, 0 for 1 after 1 ball, and then I think this is over, and they're all going back to their marks. So it is over. And then 34 runs have come since then. It's a combination of some really good shots by the England batters and some poor bowling from South Africa, and it's just kind of been the tale of their whole series, really.
Yeah, and I guess back to tactically, obviously, Sune Lees is out today. She's unwell, so she's not in this side. Ishmael's not playing with a back niggle, so that's another senior player out. But obviously, Danae van Neerkerk's not part of this series. And it just feels that leadership element of this South Africa side has just been not up to scratch this series.
Yeah, I think that obviously has been an issue for them. What I would say about at the start of a T20 game, someone's first over, you should go out there knowing against this batter I'm going to have this field. It's hard to plan for further down the game because things change, but that's obviously a plan that they've talked about and gone to, and you just wonder how much they've looked at Danny Wyatt for that.
Change of bowling then. Chloe Tryon, the left arm spinner, will be bowling the same field, long on and deep mid-wicket out. Bowling to Capsey, who's gone for a reverse, and she's beat backward point. No, she hasn't. Good diving stop, so it'll be just a single. But Capsey's playing all her shots out here. She really is, isn't she? She's getting them all out in this power play and saying, well, if you want someone to come in the power play if we lose an early wicket, you make sure it's me. And would you say, Anya, she's fighting or competing with, if we're looking towards the Commonwealth, obviously Bryony Smith took that 3 role in the first 2 ODIs. Is she competing with her for that position? Yeah, it would appear so. Obviously Heather Knight, when she's fit, will come back in, and probably for a bowler, looking at the kind of mix of this team. Try on in, and Wyatt's tried to heave that over the offside. She looks up to the sky in disappointment as she hits it out too long on for a single. Yeah, you look at the balance this side, probably want Catherine Brunt 1 lower, not at 8, not at 7. So that means Heather Knight probably comes in for a bowler. Try on to Capsey, flatter delivery, and that's swatted away to extra cover, who sat on the circle, so it would be a dot ball. 36 for 1. 3.3 overs gone. There's Tryon at the top of her mark. Into Capsey, who's moved into the onside. They're appealing for an LBW, but it'll be outside the line of off stump. So a dot ball. Danny Wyatt will be desperate to get down the other end and get on strike. Like I said before, her record, I think her strike rate against left arm spin is 150, and she'll want to get on strike against Chloe Tryon in the power play. Chloe Tryon then readies herself. 25 on her back. Into Alice Capsey, who's hit that onto the onside. Square legs in the circle. Fantastic diving stop. Kaka to her left. She prevents a couple, that's for sure, but Capsey moves to 25, 37 for 1. Danny Wyatt will be thinking boundary. I wouldn't be surprised to see her come down the track and try and hit it over Class's head at mid-off here. Try on then. A ring of fielders on that offside to Wyatt. That short delivery, that's hit over the top. Again, a gift from South Africa. Wyatt's not going to miss out on that. And she moves to 12 off 7, 41 for 1. That's really well played by Danny Wyatt. Yes, it was a poor ball. You kind of sensed Tryon felt the threat of her coming down the wicket and tried to bowl the ball into the pitch, but ended up basically bowling a half tracker, and Danny Wyatt's not going to miss out on that. Quite a strong breeze kind of going to that corner from right to left as we look at the ground, and she just used that breeze and hit a boundary. Just apologise to the listeners if you can't hear what's on the ground. We're having some technical problems, we can't hear the effects, but hopefully they'll be back with us. But you have to listen to the commentary team. You've got Georgia Elwis, Liz Lee, Anya Shrubsole next to me, and obviously Daniel Norcross as well in the box seat. You'll be hearing after this over, actually. He looks poised and ready to go. But Malaba, he bowled a fantastic first over just for 4 runs and picked up the wicket. Sophia Dunkley will continue from the far end. Capsey advances, hits up to mid-off and taken. Malaba has 2 now. And Capsey is gone for 25 off 16. England 41 for 2. It's a big wicket for South Africa. England had just started to get away from them again. What is it about Malaba's first balls? There's 2 from 2. First ball of her over. Capsey looking to hit the ball over mid-off. A decent option against the left arm spinner, but she just couldn't quite get underneath it enough. But she's played a fantastic innings for her first international innings. This is her second T20, but she didn't bat in that first one, so she should be happy with that performance as she trudges off, and in comes Nat Siver. I think her and Danny Wyatt against the left arm spinner could be really destructive.
She's batted so well throughout this whole series, starting with 100 in the Test match, and she's just continued that form all the way through.
Guess what, guys? The effect is back as it nearly deafened me and Anya there. We can hear the ground now, which is nice. Behind a glass screen, we can't hear what's going on, but we can now.
That was the shot.
Is it too loud? Welcome to Derby, Anya.
It's loud out there. It's a really good crowd in. Beautiful evening here in Derby. Crowd really enjoying what they're seeing, and now we can enjoy it along with them as well.
Absolutely. And the best seat in the house in the commentary position. And Malaba will be bowling to Nat Siver, who's in fantastic form, the best all-rounder in the world as Malaba bowls, and that's swept away from Nat Siver. Shearby off the mark with 4. There's no fielders out behind square on the leg side. 45 for 2 England.
This power play has basically been a highlights package. People on the highlights of this game will not have a lot of work to do. It's either basically been a wicket or a 4 throughout this entire power play.
Chaos out there. Good chaos though. It's what we want to see. It's what the crowd wants to see. 4 and 6 signs being waved ahead of us in the stand. There's Malaba in to Siver off the back foot this time. Appeal for LBW, but that's going down leg side on the angle. But a dot ball. That's not on the highlights package. A dot ball.
I know you just erase them. That's fine. They don't matter. 4s and wickets all the way.
Will we see another one? Again then as Malaba in to Siver off the back foot. Appeal for Abu Dhabi again, and Sarah Bartlett's given her. There will be a conversation between Siver and Wyatt, but Malaba is celebrating. Hit her on her back leg, but is it sliding down? Yes, she does review it. The England captain reviewed it and sent it upstairs. Malaba could have 3, Anya.
I know. We're slightly off angle here. I think it will just be whether it's missing leg
Third
stump.
umpire to director. We have a player review for LBW. On-field decision is out. I've checked the front foot. It's a fair delivery. Can we go front on, please?
If it's hitting leg stump, it's quite a poor shot from Nat Siver. Should have been looking to hit that straighter down the ground. She went quite square.
Watch the replay. Behind us in the commentary box, Georgia Earl with Charlotte Swift. Is giving it out. And Anya Shrubsole waves her hand as well.
I would like to check that with Ultra Edge, please.
We'll hear the voice. The third umpire. Go through the Ultra Edge.
Flat line, keep playing through. Gap between bat and ball, keep playing through. Okay, satisfied there is no bat involved. We can move to ball tracking, thank you.
And your hand keeps going up. Your hand's up in the air. I think that's a good decision from Bartlett as we watch the replay.
Outside, impact in line. Wickets are missing. So Sarah, can I ask you to change your decision to not out? I'll let you know when you're on screen. Stand by, please. You're on screen now. Signal not out.
Well, I will eat my words. I would never have said, nor would Dan in the back of the box, or Charlotte, or Georgia. So I feel strength in numbers. I would never have said that was missing. She was so far back in her crease.
Notice how I sat on the fence, I said nothing.
That's cheating, isn't it?
But I think I've won that one then.
What?
I'll get out there. Anyway, they're all set. Siver's still there. That's all that matters from England. That's down the leg side and will be signalled a wide. Malaba just bowling quicker, firing it into Siver's pads.
I don't think you can umpire if you're just going to sit on the fence, though. You actually have to give a decision whilst you're out there.
Can I not just
sit
do
in silence? No, you can't.
Oh, okay. I wasn't in silence. Come on now. That's outside the off stump and cut to extra cover will be a dot ball. Can you not, when it hits the pad, just do the square and send it upstairs? Is that not a thing?
No. No, Emily.
I don't think I could stand still enough, that's for sure. As Malaba in and off the back foot. Cut out to a deep mid-wicket. Siver runs the first one hard. And it'll just be a single. That's 47 for 2 England. 5 overs gone, and we'll have a change in the commentary position. A few words from Anya Shrubsole, and you'll be joined by Daniel Norcross.
Been an all-action start here at Derby. 47 for 2. England going at over 9 and over, but lost a couple of wickets. And I think that's always going to happen with them wanting to be more aggressive. They'll be really pleased that Nat Siver's still there and wanting to take advantage of this last power play over. Hello, Dan.
Hello. Yes, I know why you thought it was out, and I thought it was out for the same reason. But actually, on the replay, you see how wide she was when she released the ball. and she didn't get it to turn. There was absolutely no straightening, was there? So I suppose the angle, it didn't miss by much though. I think we could get away with that.
I think we could. Extra coat of paint, we'd have had umpires cool.
Yeah, and they are pretty skimpy looking stumps, aren't they?
Hawkeye
Right.
doesn't account for lack of paint.
Oyabonga Kaka is back in the attack. The first ball's a little bit short, and Siva's trying to turn it into the onside, and it just gets a little tangled up. The ball plops out on the ground. There's no run. England have made a bright start, but they have lost those 2 wickets. Dunkley out to the first ball of the match. Is that a diamond duck?
I think so. I haven't a clue. It's never something I had to
Has it
concern
never happened to
myself
you?
with.
I have.
I don't open the batting.
I've been out the first ball of a match. Oh, it's horrible. Kaka in, clipped away into the onside towards deep mid-wicket on the front foot by Siva. 48 for 2. It's so miserably depressing, especially if you hate fielding as much as I do and you don't bowl. And it's 1 o'clock. Well, it's actually 1 o'clock and 10 seconds, and you've just edged a filthy long hop through to the keeper.
It's a long day from now on in.
It's a long day. It's a cruel mistress, cricket. She brings tears to your eyes and blood to your shoulders. As Kaka is in, outside the off stump, clattered into the offside. Go through for a quick single, shy at the stumps. If it hits, would have been close. But Wyatt is speedy between the wickets and gets home. Moves to 13, England 49 for 2.
Danny Wyatt is rapid. I think she was, in the end, quite comfortably home there. Siva's looked to hit the ball a bit square so far in this innings. I'd like to see her try and hit the ball a bit straighter down the ground.
Kaka right arm over into her. That has been turned backward a square. That's running away down towards the fine leg boundary. It won't get there, but she should pick up a couple of runs as a piece of relay fielding. Not strictly speaking necessary relay fielding takes place. And the 50 is up. 51 for 2. England going on at a very healthy pace. I took the trouble of finding what England's highest total in T20 internationals was after Capsey hit 16 in an over. As Kaka is in. And Siva just works this nicely to the right of long on. I'll think for a second, it isn't there. Just one more to the total.
What have you got for me, Dan?
Well, let's see if you get it. So I wonder, you might have played in this game. It was in Colombo in March 2019. Did you play that game? So it's against Sri Lanka. Kaka in, and that's a slower ball. Defended to the offside. Wyatt once one is sent back by Siva. Then the throw comes in, and now they are going to get through for a run, are they? Throw comes in, misses everything. Utter chaos and mayhem. So, Wyatt pushed the ball into the offside with soft hands, wanted a single. Siva said no chance. The throw was wild, evaded Jafta, and they got through for an overthrow, but only just. So, in a wild and furious over, 53 for 2 at the end of it. Wyatt 14, Siva 9. Oh, right. Anya Shobsole is going to depart, and in so doing, she may have taken off our effects. I'm not sure. We'll see. Well, I can't hear anything.
Input 2. I didn't take off any effects, I promise.
Right. Well, anyway, we'll see. They'll hopefully reappear at some point. I can assure you that we are at Derby. And for the first time on TMS, I am absolutely delighted to say that we are joined by, I can't quite bring myself to say this, former South African batter,
right?
Lizelle Lee.
It's just something to get used to, isn't it?
It is.
Oh yeah. So Dalmi Tucker is coming on to bowl. Look, she's a very young and exciting player, and she's been brought up because of, I think, an injury that's been brought into the team. So happy to see her bowl and hoping she can take a few wickets.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm interested in. We've seen a little bit of Tucker. As her first delivery is defended into the offside and fielded at point, and there's no run. And with the bat as well, I thought she had a little bit of grit to her, a little bit
Yeah,
down the
she's a
order.
very clever bowler. She thinks when she bowls, and she's one of those players that's not going to.
She's in again. This has been lofted down the ground. It's going down towards long off. Oh, and that's gone all the way. It was a great diving effort. Right behind the bowler, directly behind the bowler. That was hit as straight as a ball could be hit by Danny Wyatt.
It's a beautiful shot, wasn't it?
Well, they're going to have a little look to see if it's 4 or 6. It was a fine effort by Long On running round. A long way to her right. She had about 20 yards to make up there, and she nearly got to the ball. But you're absolutely right, Lizelle. That is one heck of a shot.
Oh, looks like 6, doesn't it?
Has that hit the sponge direct, or has it just gone over?
I think it's a direct. It should be signaled 6 by the umpire.
Okay, well, they're taking a little bit of time over this. We haven't got the perfect... Oh, this will give us a better view. As it plops down just past the diving hand and is 6. That will be 6.
That's a great effort, wasn't it? I mean, it's one of those balls. If it stuck in your hand, it stucks, and I think that would have been an incredible catch.
It would have been spectacular. She did it. It was a great effort. I mean, she had to run, I would say, 20 yards. Wyatt pulls. It is a strapple up towards log on, whatever Anya Shrubsole may say. That is an authentic straight pull up towards log on. One more. 60 for 2. You can hear the keeper very loudly in your ears, as I can in mine, as Tucker is in. Short, pulled out towards deep mid-wicket. It'll just be the one for Nat Siver, who's looking to shovel quite a lot of balls at the onside in this innings so far.
Yeah, it might be that they're bowling a bit too short. I mean, it's probably one of those wickets where you have to go a bit fuller to try and get them on the front foot. But in saying that, they hit that as well.
Tucker in again, short again, but that does not evade backward point where Laura Wolfhart does the field. She's picked up a catch already off the very first ball of the match. We think it's a diamond duck, first ball of a match.
Oh, really?
I think it's
thought
done.
It just stays a golden duck, doesn't it?
Oh no, first ball of a match. It's got to be given. It's got
different.
extra prominence.
That's just extra special.
Down a wicket comes Wyatt, gets in a tangle and just can only move the ball into the onside. Fielded for own bowling by Tucker. There is no run. End of the 7th over. England going on a healthy pace. 61 for 2. Siver 10. Wyatt 21. Now then, I was going to tell you what England's highest score in T20s was. It is
It's against us.
I think it's
It
against
was
Sri
against
Lanka.
South Africa. No, I think it's against South Africa, isn't
Are you
it?
sure? I've got one here. That's against Sri Lanka's women. 204 for 2. I think.
Oh, no.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
You're
it's
dead.
us,
No, you're
yeah.
dead right.
You
I
know what?
missed that one. It's all the way up the top.
I think if you have a look, so what happened on the day is we've played against England. They hit, what is that, 200?
250 for 3 in
Yeah.
Taunton in 2018.
We played New Zealand first. I think they hit 220 odd. And then we were like, it can't be worse. And then the very next game, England came and got that. So it definitely got
Yeah.
worse for us.
I
Do
think
you remember that?
Yeah, well, I commentated that game. I can't believe I've completely
How
forgotten
was
it.
that? 204.
Well, commentated a lot of games, but
Yeah.
you're right. That was disastrous of my memory there. Right, start of a new over. First ball is driven up to mid off, and there's no run. Masabata Class in the attack. She's got a point, extra cover mid off, long on, deep mid wicket, square leg, fine leg, and a deep third. Relatively fine deep third at that, not too wide, not moving towards backward
It's the
point.
field though, don't you think? Like you're not quite sure where she's bowling.
Class in, and that's clipped off the inside edge onto pad, rolls down to the offside for a single and no more. Why do you say that? Because of we've got this acres of space on the onside. We've got fine leg up, third back. Oh, and now long off's going back.
Well, this makes a bit more sense because as a bowler, you want to protect one side of the wicket, and with her having third back, because I wasn't even quite sure she's going to go full, she's going to go a little bit shorter back of the length, she's not quite sure. Yeah, it feels like they're putting a ball there for the bad ball.
Class in. That swung at and missed down the leg side. There must have been a bit of pad on that because umpire has not given a wide.
But I actually think if you can bring cover up and maybe put a deep square, and then maybe just take a little bit of the leg side of the field, because as you can see, it looks like they're trying to go square a lot of the time. I think that would be a good idea.
It's certainly the way Siver's going. I suppose Wyatt's shown a little bit of intent down the ground as Class is into her. And she cuts at this one, but can't beat backward point. Wolfhart does the fielding, and there is no run. What sort of a captain will Chloe Tryon be?
I would think she's a bit of an attacking captain, but I think as a bowler you have to know what sort of field you want, and I think if that's what the bowler wants, the captain can't always change it.
Class in once more to Wyatt. Wyatt cuts down towards the boundary for 4. Deep third had come up, and she's found the gap perfectly between backward point, or points really, very square is that point, and the short third for 4 more. Wyatt starting to find her feet here. She's moved to 25 from 17, and England are 66 for 2.
I think she's wondering why she brought third man out at the moment.
Well, she's a tricky person to bowl out wide, isn't it? Because we saw the 6 down the ground earlier. She's going to come at you and try and hit you straight.
She can go all over. I mean, she's probably one of those 360 players.
Class, right arm over the wicket. Wyatt cuts again. This time out towards the cover boundary. It's going to be cut off, but they'll get back for 2. It's got a long boundary out there. They've gone on the arm as much as anything else. 2 more to the total. 68 for 2 after 8. Wyatt 27. Siver has 11. Now, I'm going to do a little. Well, I was going to try and do some
vitality giveaway.
But you can now hear the man in the ground very determinedly telling us that he's giving something away. But look, I can give it a whirl because I saw a story of great sadness on Twitter the other day. A young man by the name of Finn Travascus.
Yeah.
It's a very good, solid Cornish name. It sounds kind of Lithuanian, doesn't it? Travascus.
I don't even think I can pronounce it.
Travascus.
Travascus.
TRE is a common sort of prefix in Cornwall. There's a Liam Travaskis who plays up in Devon, up in Durham. But it's a West Country name. And poor old Finn is a 9-year-old leg spinner. It's the start of a new over. The first ball is clipped into the onside, just in front of mid-wicket, who parries this down towards long on, and there's a single. And poor thing, he came down unwell, I think COVID, just before a really big tournament at Taunton. And he was going to play in this huge tournament for Western Supermare Cricket Club. And he couldn't because of the COVID. And his mother got in touch on Twitter and said that the young man needed some encouragement. And I was thinking, as this next delivery is strappled up towards long on for a single by Wyatt. The score moves to 69 for 2, a short ball. If we could collectively find words of encouragement for him, because you, Lizelle, you must have had injuries in your time just before a big game that have taken you out of a match. After I put you on the spot here, next delivery is driven firmly in the air. 1 bounce, 2 bounces, 4 runs over extra cover. Great use of the feet from Nat Siver, brings up a boundary in England, and motoring here, the 74 for 2.
You know what? I haven't.
Haven't you?
I haven't had an injury that's taken me out of a game before.
Really?
Yeah, I hope I'm not jinxing myself now.
No. Well, I look around this box and there are a few who have. Down the wicket again comes Siver, and she smears this out towards deep mid-wicket. They might get a second here on the... No, they will not. It's a little fumble out of deep mid-wicket. The score moves to 75 for 2. Well, it turns out his club won 6 out of 8 matches in the festival. So they're a good side.
Yeah.
But he's their gun spinner. They could have won 8 out of 8 if he'd been there.
Yeah, of course.
But he needs words of encouragement because it's tough when these things happen.
I think we can come up with something.
Oh, play and a miss, a little indeterminate prod through to the keeper, and there's no run. Because, you know, over the course of I broke a foot before a tournament.
How did you do that?
I was diving for a ball and I went straight into some concrete steps. Foot first. I wasn't diving very well. Another smear. Oh, and just dropped at mid-wicket. It was a sharp chance. Wyatt going for this rather ugly slog across the line, a foolish ball outside the off stump, and it was a low chance to the right of mid-wicket. Got both hands to it, but shelled it. They either stick or they don't there. And England at the end of the 9th over, 75 for 2, Siver 17, Wyatt 28. But what I was going to say, Finn, is that, you know, this will be a brief blip. You'll be fine in about a week, and there are weeks more of this season. And the glorious thing is we're due for another heat wave. We're due for more perfect weather. Yeah, afraid so. Yeah. So there'll be lots and lots more games of cricket to be played this summer, and then there'll be lots more games to play, and it takes over the next 10 years before you make your rightful place at the Oval, the oldest Test ground in England, playing for England as a leg spinner.
It's a beautiful ground, isn't it?
It's
amazing.
It's the greatest. I'm glad you said that, Lizelle. This ball's cut into the offside, well punched off the back foot really to short extra cover, no run. I saw you hit a ball out of the Oval into the cricketers' pub.
I am probably one of the biggest fans of the Oval. I think it's an amazing ground.
You'll have to fight me for that accolade. Cut to point. Next delivery, no run.
Let's not fight about it, please. I want to play at Lords. I really think...
Yeah. The second oldest ground in London. Yeah, you can...
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought Lords is number 1.
Nah, the Oval had the first Test match in England in 1880. Lords was 1882, I think. Leading edge squirts out into the offside, and it's fielded at short extra cover. There's no run, but look, it's a fine ground, Lords. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I haven't played on it, so
you must.
I think it's just it's a thing. It's a thing to play there.
It is. Tryon's next ball has been hammered through deep mid wicket for 4. An exceptional shot by Siver. She picked the length, got right back into her crease, and there's walloped this. It was short. It wasn't quite as short as Siva made it look, and she moves into the 20s, 79 for 2 in the 10th over. Try on back at the top of her mark. She's in now, left arm around the wicket. Siva this time punches off the back foot. Oh, it's some shoddy fielding in the covers, really, and just bounces off the fielder's thigh there and allows him to run through for an easy single. 80 for 2 brings Wyatt back on strike for the last ball of the 10th over.
What would be your second best film?
Best ground?
Yeah, best
Adelaide,
ground.
Adelaide Oval. I love the Adelaide Oval.
I think I've played there once.
It's beautiful. All the statues. There's trees. Next ball cut to point, and there's no run. More thoughts from Liz Lee on her favourite grounds that she's played in around the world in your illustrious career. And then, taking through the next 5 overs with England on 80 for 2, will be Emily Winter.
Well, to be honest, I have played in a few grounds. I don't know which one's my favourite one, but one where I've hit the most hundreds is probably Hove, which would be in the Kia Super League, and then also one from South Africa. So, yeah, I love Hove. Yeah.
Hove's a great ground. The home of the Southern Vipers as well, the mighty Vipers. That's us. You got me, Anya, and George Rowers. That's it. You're getting the Vipers sign up. What's your favourite ground in South Africa?
I've been asked this question a lot of times, and I don't really have an answer. I would say the one with the most spectacular view is Newlands.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the one that I've been to.
backside of Table Mountain, beautiful. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Newlands.
I've been to South Africa. I went to Cape Town for like three months when it's my gap year when I was 18, and it's such a lovely place. Table Mountain.
Did you go up?
Yes. Do you know what though? We nearly messed up. We were going to go up on a set day, then the cloud came over, so we were like, no, we won't do it that day. And then at the end, we were like, we haven't been up. And we literally went up the morning that we flew, so we were risking a cloud coming over, but it was unbelievable weather, pure blue skies. You can hear it's a pause in play, by the way. We're talking about South Africa because it's drinks. It's 80 for 2 England. What score here, Liz out? Obviously South Africa, what do you think is a chaseable total from here? We're 10 overs in, 80 for 2.
Yeah, look, England's going to try and, I think they're going to go and try and go at least 170 plus. If they do get that, I don't think South Africa will be able to chase that, only because batters hasn't been standing up the way they should have. They're a little short on runs. You have somebody like Chloe Tryon, which is I think in very good form, but just the way she's been getting out this past few games, I think she'll be very disappointed with that. Sunay Lee's not playing today, so
Can I ask your perspective on that batting order? Us in the commentary box are obviously here to critique, but we want to see Wolvart opening the batting.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I think she's done so well at number either 4 or 5, which I think sort of gave her that set position when she played in the Big Bash in Australia. I think she batted 5 and she did extremely well. She came back into the SA team. I think she batted 4 and 5-ish, and she's done so well. I mean, knowing her personally, she sometimes just struggles in the beginning, knowing she has to go hard, and normally that's not a game. Coming in with the power play is over, she has players outside and she can get her ones easily and then go for the big shots.
So that's where she feels more comfortable as well. See, this is why we need you here. We've been pondering these first 2 games. Why is she not opening the batting?
No,
and there we go.
If you have a look at her stats, since she's been batting there, she's done so well.
The players are back in place. Malaba, the left arm spinner, will continue. She did a dummy again. That's twice she's done it today, and will be bowling to Siva, just resetting her mark. 4 fielders out. Long off, long on. Deep cow and square leg. As Malaba left arm round the wicket to Siva, who advances, hits that into the onside. Cry of catch it at mid wicket. Was a half chance. Fantastic bit of work on the boundary. Keeps it to a single. That would have been a hard chance.
It's not the first time we went in that space. I mean, mid wickets looking, it's very crucial at the moment. I think Matsabata Class already had 2 chances. I'm not calling that a chance, but if she got a hand to it, that would have been brilliant.
It's one of those. It would have been a specky if she got it. Malaba to Wyatt, who advances, hits up to long off. Will just be a single. Wyatt moves to 29, 82 for 2.
Yeah, Sorry, yeah, it just looks like Danny White and Nat Service really looking to go for it right now. I mean, they have the batting depth, so it's going to be interesting to see.
It's Malaba in reverse sweep from Siva.
Beautiful.
Wolvart comes round, great diving stop to her left to keep it for a single. Siva to 24, 83 for 2.
It's going to be interesting to see how the players, the bowlers approach it right now. I mean, you have the likes of Danny White that can hit a long ball.
Malaba into Wyatt, who advances and then she pulls out. Gone too early there, Wyatt.
I think that's so frustrating for a bowler.
Do you do it as a batter though?
Oh no.
No dummies as Malaba in, and that's swept into the leg side. It's gone fine, and the fielder comes round, so they think about a second, but Siva says no to Wyatt, who's quick between the wickets. She moves to 30 off 24, 84 for 2.
I think there's a few bowlers that just do it to do it, which is quite annoying. And then you have batters that just try and...
Malaba in, swept by Siva, doesn't get hold of it. It's gone fine. The fielder comes round, they think about a second. Siva's coming back, great running. This will be signalled, leg byes. But Tucker there should have done a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is one of those grounds where you actually have to dive and make sure the ball doesn't go past you, otherwise you're going to have to run it in. And that's a tough job.
86 for 2, England. South Africa bowling. That's Boulder! Malaba now has 3, and all 3 of those wickets. Siva gone for 24, 86 for 3, England.
That's just beautiful from Malaba. I mean, I think this is the first time she's taken 3 wickets in a T20. She will be so stoked at the moment, and I think this is exactly what the team needs. I mean, you have players coming in, scoring runs left, right and centre, and just trying to break those partnerships a little bit, trying to put England on the back foot is good.
And we know, don't you, obviously when you're out there yourself, as a fielding unit, when you get wickets, it just brings you all together, doesn't it? It recreates that energy, that belief, and it stems the run flow. More importantly, a new batter has to come in and reset themselves.
Yes, definitely. I mean, you get teams like in England and obviously Australia, then if a batter goes out and a batter comes in, doesn't always mean the runs is going to stop. I think that's a good thing about England. This doesn't matter if there's a new batter coming in. There's always a few runs, singles, and then maybe the odd boundary, which is good to see. But definitely, I agree with you. I mean, this is going to put it just kind of feels like it's going to put the bowling side a bit on a high at the moment.
86 for 3, then 11 overs gone. So the new batter, Amy Jones, won't be facing. She's doing some jumps. She's getting pumped up. But Danny Wyatt will be on strike. A wall of fielders on the offside and a long off out. Just try on in again, dummies, and comes back. South Africa full of the dummies today. Danny Wyatt didn't move this time, but she sets herself again. 25 on her back, hair flowing. She bowls. That's Loopy and bowled her. Beautiful. South Africa have 2 in 2 balls. Danny Wyatt has now gone for 30 off 24. The score 86 for 4.
I think that was just a brilliant ball from Chloe Tryon. Yorked it in, hit the off stump. I mean, that's what you want to see. Just 2 new batters at the crease. That's brilliant.
And what she did there, Danny Wyatt is so strong over the offside. She's trying to give herself room to go over that wall of fielders we talked about. And Wyatt back to the pavilion, and it will see 2 new batters to the crease. Maya Bouchier from the Southern Vipers again will be joining. Back to Hove. If you like Hove so much and you score loads of hundreds, I'm sure we can get Charlotte Edwards to sign you on the dotted line.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I wouldn't mind playing for Vipers. We're going to have to put my name in there.
Well, maybe you could be a Hove specialist. Is that a thing? Could we have a ground specialist?
Maybe Hove is one of those grounds where I just like to score runs.
Do you know what though?
So every home ground I can play.
Hove is a ground the Vipers always struggle as well, so this sounds like a perfect
I think
deal.
you guys need me.
86 for 4 then. Maya Bouchier comes to the crease. Chloe Tryon still with the ball in hand, and South Africa pumped it. They picked up 2 quick wickets. As Tryon in bowls and Bouchier hits past mid-wicket. A good diving effort from Mignon du Preez. It'll be a single. Bouchier off the mark. 87 for 4.
It's good to see Mignon du Preez back. I mean, she's retired from ODI cricket and she's back in T20 cricket. I think they just need that little bit of a nice positive feeling back on the ground, and she's the perfect person to bring that back into the team.
As Tryon in again, left arm round to Jones, who's hit mid-wicket. Mignon de Prix energy in that position. It's a dot ball. I played with her actually for the Southern Vipers in the Kia Super League. I'm going to get taken off air in a minute for mentioning the Vipers. I'm actually wearing an orange top today as well. Chloe Tryon into Jones, and that's driven back down the pitch. Will be no run.
She's giving some airtime for the Vipers. I mean,
I'm blaming you. You're saying it more than me.
I'm sorry, but you're the one that's bringing the Vipers up every time.
Tryon to Jones, and that's hit up to mid-on. She'll be off the mark now.
Maybe we should speak a little bit about the Manchester Originals. I mean, Lancashire or something.
Should we just mention them all? Should we just go through the list of the competition?
Yeah,
but
why not?
100 is coming up, and Liz Ali will be at Manchester Originals as Tryon in, and that's cut away, fielded well at cover, fires it back into the keeper's gloves. Dot ball, that's a great over, 12 overs gone, 88 for 4. And you will be getting a bit of a break from the Southern Vipers. I say because Liz Ali's gone off air, but we're just joined by another Southern Viper, Georgia Alvis.
I was enjoying that Vipers chat.
But where do you see England here now? Good opportunities for Jones and Boucher, 88 for 4.
I'm actually really excited by this because we know what great players Amy Jones and Maya Boucher are, but they don't get the opportunity very often in T20 cricket. So this is the longest they'll probably have had to bat in T20 cricket in a long time. So for them, I think they've got a little bit of time. The run rate's good. They can just knock it about, get themselves in, and then both of them are very naturally attacking players anyway. So I'm sure they won't shy away from that style of play.
Tucker then, the off spinner bowls, and that's width, and that's played up to mid off. Boucher running hard, but it will just be a single. Jones to 2, 89 for 4, and both of them, bat high in their domestic teams. They're used to having time in the middle. As Tucker, the off spinner, has 4 fielders out, deep square leg, mid wicket, long on, and that's driven down the ground, and that's a dot ball. We're having a photo taken. This is really hard to commentate and have a photo taken at the same time. Ebony Rainford Brent, who's on BBC 2. You can tune in as Boucher hits that up to long on for a single. Rotating the strike, England 90 for 4. Yeah, so today it's on live on telly, BBC 2. Tune in there, but you can obviously tune in the radio commentary. Make sure you listen to us. As Tucker in to Jones, and that's worked fine, and fine leg comes round again, another single. Just rebuilding here, these two rotating the strike. 91 for 4 into the 13th over. Floodlights are on, but still bright blue skies with some clouds overhead as Tucker in, and that's cut to extra cover, will be no run. Fielder ends up on the floor. 91 for 4. Jones and Boucher at the crease. After quick wickets forwards, Boucher advances and hits that up to long on. She's hit that well. She does that so well. They think about a second. There's a slight misfield, but settle for the single. Boucher to 4, 92 for 4 England. Boucher does that well, doesn't she, against spin? Uses her feet and just playing control down the ground.
Yeah, both use their feet really well to rotate the strike, and usually the field spread when the spinners come on, so there's plenty of gaps out there. And I think for South Africa as well, that they've only got 3 more overs left from their spinners, so England will know that. They'll know that they have to bring the seam back on, and I think the seam has been a bit easier to hit boundaries and be aggressive against tonight, so they just need to take their time, rotate the strike against the spin.
Tryon to Boucher, who's tried to cut that through a wall of fielders on the offside, but will get no run as the sun is beaming down. I think we've lost the effects again, unfortunately. As Chloe Tryon, 25. Her choice of numbers, and that's play and miss outside the off stump by Boucher. What was your number, Georgia? Did you get to choose it?
My shirt number?
Yep.
34. I did choose that.
Can I ask why? It's Chloe Tryon. Into Boucher again. Bowls, that's hit down the ground, hit hard. Long on. Bosch does the fielding. Boucher moves to 4, 93 for 4 England.
Yeah, so there are a couple of reasons. The first was I first got picked on the 3rd of April, so that was the 3rd of the 4th. But also, incidentally, it's the year of my grandparents' birth, and they were the ones that got me into cricket.
Tryon in, gone for reverse sweeps, and that's hit well from Amy Jones. That will be 4 runs. was a shorter delivery by Tryon, but that didn't matter to Jones, and she's hit that for 4. Her first boundary, 97 for 4.
Yeah, brilliant shot by Jones. Tryon got a little bit unlucky there because she actually saw a shape up to do that really early, so dragged the ball down, but Jones then was just able to wait and lift it over the top of that point fielder and found the boundary easily.
Tryon to Jones then, who this time hits up towards long off. They're running the first one hard, but will just be a single. Clever batting from Jones. She moves to 8, 98 for 4. A strong breeze out there. We went out there earlier. It's one of those where your hair's blown in your face. It's going from right to left as we look at the ground from the commentary position. Tryon in, swept by Boucher. She's got that fine square legs, quick Kaka out there, and they come back for a couple. Boucher to 6, and that's England's 100 up at 14 overs. You can hear the busy crowd applaud that. You got this spread around the ground at Derby. Ahead of us, a big stand, field full of people. Good, nice evening to be watching cricket, hey?
Beautiful evening, and watching an England team who've dominated this series, playing some really exciting cricket. South Africa have got a foot in this game, haven't they? I thought the spinners have bowled fantastically well on this wicket. He's a little bit slow and he's giving them something, but the spinners have been the ones who've caused the problems for England tonight.
Malaba to continue, who's bowled 3 for 14 off her 3 overs as that's pulled into the onside. Just be a single to Jones. 101 for 4, 3 for 15 off 3.1. Decent figures that in T20 cricket, hey?
Yeah, brilliant figures, and to not to forget she opened the bowling, so she bowled in the power play as well with that.
Malaba, the left arm spinner, she's on fire as Boucher works it out to that same position off the front foot though. Deep mid wicket for a single. Boucher to 7, 102 for 4. Malaba sets herself again. The 4 fielders out, all in front of square as Malaba in, and that's fired at the stumps but played off the back foot nicely by Jones up to long on. She's done that well, Malaba. That seems to be her tactic, isn't it? Firing it in quickly to the pads, and that's where she's got her wickets.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw her causing Nat Siver some problems, trying to go too square on that pull shot.
Malaba in, and Boucher sweeps away. That's beaten a fine leg, and that will race away for 4 runs. Fantastic shot from Boucher. She moves to 11, 107 for 4.
Yeah, it's a brilliant shot from my Boucher there. As we spoke about, the angle that Malaba's trying to create, she's always going into that leg stump, and Boucher's taking a little bit of a risk there by playing that sweep shot, but she's so good at it. Beats that short 45 fielder, and it does race away.
Crowd on their feet then, 4 and 6 signs. As Malaba into Boucher again, and in defence, back down the pitch, slightly slower from Malaba, toying with Boucher there. She grits her teeth. She'll be in her element there, Boucher. She loves batting. It's Malaba in, and that's on the leg side, and that's worked out to deep square leg. Will just be a single. Boucher to 12, 108 for 4, 15 overs gone. A few more words from George Ellis, and Daniel Norcross will join you.
Yeah, England have got themselves into a nice position here. 5 overs left to go, and they're already on 108. Boucher and Jones, I think, have played really nicely. They both came to the crease as new batters and have just started to form a little bit of a partnership. They're going to run well between the wickets, not really taking too many risks, and looking now, we've got 5 overs to go. I reckon they're going to start putting their foot down.
Yeah, you'd think. And they've got plenty of batting to come. Plenty of big hitters down the order. That's if another wicket falls. I haven't taken a wicket. Emily Windsor's taken all 4.
Is that a good thing, or is that
Well, it depends. I'm entirely impartial.
Okay.
And we are on the BBC.
Yep, we are.
And we're not just impartial on the radio today, we're impartial on the TV as well.
Yes.
This is a live simulcast, or whatever they call it. Well, it's on BBC Two anyway. You can watch it if you like, or if you're in the car, or whatever. You may be listening on your way home, or if you want to listen to us and watch on the TV, you know what to do. Kaka is not going to start a new over because Boucher's not ready. I love Maya Boucher, but I have this problem with her name because it scans so perfectly with the song.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Maya Boucher, and on it goes in my head, which I shouldn't hold against her. I mean, it isn't her fault. 4 in the ring on the offside, 1 fine leg up. That's it. This ball's been clipped firmly out towards deep mid-wicket for 4. Super shot, really good connection, lovely noise off the bat, and perfect placement, because there are 3 fielders on the boundary on the onside. You've got deep square, deep mid-wicket, relatively wide, long on. Boucher does tend to get the ball a little bit squarer, and that's why long on is a little bit wider and mid-wicket is out there, but she found the gap perfectly. Will Kaka respond? Boucher, back raised, waits and flicks again out to the onside. Should pick up 2 here as square leg has to move to her right to field. And Jones is home at the non-striker's end. 114 for 4. Jones 10, Boucher to 18. Are we going to get to see a bit of Freya Kemp with the bat?
I hope so.
You do hope so,
Oh.
but that'll involve wickets.
Oh, true.
You might have to take those. So I'm bowling a bit dry at the moment. Kaka in again, swept. Oh, and it will be taken by the keeper. Top edge. Well, hang on. If she's not caught, she's run out, I think, here, because she came out of her ground. She went for the sweep. It got a little loopy top edge. It was taken by Jafta, the keeper. The umpire didn't give it out. And then the keeper was alert to the fact that Boucher had just sort of drifted out of her crease and then flicked the bails off. So I think Boucher knows she's toast. She's sort of making a rather dolefully slow move towards the players' dugout. But Ebony Rainford Brent is looking and going, what's happening? Well, if you listen on the radio, Ebony, you'll find out.
Third umpire's director. We have an umpire review.
We have an umpire review
run out.
for run out. Okay. So we don't have an umpire. We don't have a review for court.
If we can move to best angle, please.
So that we're not going to find out from this whether or not the ball's hit glove or bat. We will find out if it's a run out. I fancy it must be because Boucher started
She was halfway
walking.
off. She was halfway
Yeah,
off.
I think she knows. Let's take a look. Well, I say let's take a look. We can't see anything. Here we go. She's out. She's definitely run out.
So just can I just double check the ball in hand first, please? Thanks. Just take it back for me a little bit. Yep. So ball is in hand. Play that forward now, please.
This is Sue Redfern's voice. You can hear.
Thank
Third
you.
umpire.
I am ready to make my decision.
Yes. And the decision will be out. It's quite definitely out. She's about a foot short of her ground. What she did was, I think, I wonder if she knew she'd actually hit it
I
as
think
well.
I think
And
you're right.
If you're Ayabonga Kaka, do you say, actually, can we do a review first and see if she was caught? Because I quite like the wicket to my name. But
Yeah.
anyway, one way or the other, Maya Boucher's got to go for 18 from 17. She likes to sweep. She didn't connect with it this time. Whether it's come off a bit of bat or a bit of glove or a bit of forearm, I don't know if we'll ever know, because we're not going to see that replay.
So does that count as stumped or run out? Because she wasn't attempting a run, was she?
She wasn't attempting a run. This is a very good question. I think because she has made a lurch forward, that will be counted as a run out.
Interesting. Because it could have still been Kaka's wicket.
It could have still been, and it should have been, because it's actually come off the edge. So it's come right off the top edge, and it looked like it did in real time, actually. That standing umpire didn't give it out. But one way or the other, Boucher is gone. England are 114 for 5, and Catherine Brunt has come to the crease. First ball, she punches off the back foot to extra cover, where Klass does the fielding, and there's no run. It's been put down as run out. I think that's right, actually, because she did then, having seen, she looked behind and she made a sort of lurch forward at that point. So you could interpret that as attempting a run, even though it really wasn't. But Kaka is denied a wicket, but not South Africa. Kaka in again, worked into the onside with soft hands by Brunt. She'll pick up 1, but no more. We haven't seen Brunt with a mat in this series, 115 for 5. So we don't really know what kind of touch or form she's in.
No, but I think we do know that her intent will be quite the same, won't it? She always moves around the crease.
Oh, we've just seen the replay there. I'm going to get Georgia to describe what she thinks has happened there. Kaka in a slower ball, which is pushed off the back foot by Jones into the covers. There's no run. I mean, it's guilt, isn't it?
Yeah.
End of the over, 115 for 5, 16 overs gone. Jones 10, Brunt 1.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure if the keeper was going to take the bails at all until she saw the panic on Maya's Bouchier's face to try and get back, and then she thought, oh yeah, I better take the bails as well. So I think if I was Kaka, I'd feel a bit of grief that they didn't go for the player review, because they were all convinced that it was out caught behind, and I think Maya Boucher was almost walking off, wasn't she? She was looking up guiltily at...
You can't do that though, can you really?
No,
Because I suppose
just-
once you've got the wicket, you've got to say, well, we got her out, so we're not going to... I mean, just in case that had come off the forearm, I suppose.
Well, could you not check both?
Well, you'd have to refer, so then you'd lose your referral if it had come off the arm, but you'd still get the wicket, which was the run out. I mean, it'd be... I'd do it. But that's one of the many reasons I'm not a player. Is this the first delivery of Tucker's fourth and final over is tucked up towards long on for a single by Brunt. She moves to 2. Jones back on strike. England have got 4 overs left. I'm a bit of a romantic, and I'm slightly disappointed they didn't send in either Wong or Kemp at 7, because we sort of know what Brunt can do. As this next delivery is swept at by Jones, missed, got a bit of pad, it's rolled quite fine to short fine leg, and there's no run as Masabata Class tidies up. She's pretty fine at fine leg here. Brunt on strike, short, pulled meaterly out towards deep mid wicket. There'll be 1, and they'll just stick to 1. Decent throw comes in. 118 for 5. 21 balls left in this innings that started so brightly. Alice Capsey hitting 16 in the second over. England were 33 for 1 after 3, but they've lost regular wickets. Wickets at regular intervals, and the South Africans have bowled a lot better today. Tucker in. Down a wicket comes Jones. She heaves it into the onside to wide long on for 4. That bounced and then skipped up and over Ayabonga Kaka's outstretched right arm. That long on. It'll look not so good on the replay. You'll think that she should have been able to stop that, but actually it's bounced and kicked so high that I don't think she could get a hand to it once it had bounced. It was hit very firmly. Oh yes, I think it's such a hard outfield, and there's a little bit of a ridge out there, and I think it's just bounced off the ridgy outfield and taken it past the arm of Kaka. Next delivery is also heaved out towards deep square leg. There should be 2 here as it's between mid wicket and square leg. They're coming back for a second. Throw comes in at the keeper's end. Jones will be home safely. 2 more. Well, it doesn't even come in at the keeper's end, really. It comes halfway between both stumps, which makes it even more likely she was going to be safely home. 124 for 5. Jones to 16. She's got to shepherd this tail to a total above 150, you'd think, here. Down the wicket she comes. Hits it firmly in the air. Down towards Kaka, who rather... Oh, no. Well, she slightly bottled out of the catch. She didn't keep running in. It might have been there to take as a catch, and then she waited for it. It bounced, and she's misfielded it and allowed 4. It could have been a wicket. Instead, it's a boundary. End of the 17th over. Jones has 20. England 128 for 5. Georgia Elwes, you've got your hand over your mouth. You will have to remove it to speak at some point.
Oh dear. Oh dear. She's not going to want to see that back, and I don't think she's going to want to make any sort of eye contact with the bowler for a good few overs. Just casual. I thought she was casual on that piece of fielding previously, but I gave her the benefit of the doubt, because as you said, it did just kick on. But that one, first of all, not going for the catch. Secondly, letting it go straight through her hands, and I think she'll be avoiding Tucker for a while now.
I think she'd be wise to. Masabata Glass back into the attack from our end, the racecourse end. Oh, a little chip leading edge, and it's going to land safely at where a conventional short mid-on would have been. But Klaas couldn't get back in time because she'd followed through onto the onside. It's just a little loopy leading edge. Looking to turn the ball into the onside was Brunt, and it just ballooned up in the air. She gets a fortuitous single, brings Jones back on strike. 129 for 5. 4 in the ring on the offside. Long off is back. Class in. That's cut by Jones. That's going to run away through the covers for 4. There are no sweepers on the offside, so Jones has just said to herself, I've just got to find the gap between those 4 fielders, and if I get that gap, it'll be 4 every time.
Yeah, it's really clever batting from Amy Jones. She's gone deep in a crease and right across to the offside, and Class has tried to be smart and gone further outside the offside, but because, like you said, the whole offside field is up, it's just a free shot for Amy Jones to place where she wants, and she doesn't miss out there.
Well, you'll think she'll try something similar again, because you've got long off, long on, deep mid-wicket and deep square leg. And Class is not the quickest, so Jones is just hanging on the back foot there, and anything even remotely short, and she can get it through that offside, it's 4. Class in again. Well, she's gone leg side this time, and that's been swept at. And has it been missed or not? It's gone through to the keeper, and they're wondering whether they're going to refer this. Chloe Tryon's coming up. She's the acting captain today. Having a word with Class. No, they're not going to refer, in which case, why isn't it a wide?
It must have hit a thigh pad then. That's the only thing I can think.
It must have done, wasn't it?
Oh, it's all going on.
It's all happening.
It's all going on.
It's curious today. I mean, it's a very green tinged pitch, and it's also playing really well. So there's a lot of things can't make sense of today. Class is into Jones. He whacks this out through deep backward square leg. That's going to run away for 4 more. Again, a super shot with fine leg up and square leg quite square. She just had to find that gap, and she did. It's a placement that's been so good here, Jones. 137 for 5.
Yeah, it's just poor bowling from Class as well. Amy Jones is moving around the crease, yes, but she's just not bowling to a field at all. She's bowling too short. You can't defend that. Amy Jones can literally put that wherever she wants.
She's got long on and long off. I mean, block hole doesn't seem like a bad idea,
No,
or
it's
full
quite,
at any
yeah.
rate. And say to Jones, are you going to clear the boundary down here?
You'd think, but she's trying a different plan that we are not sure of.
Yes, we're not party to it. Class runs away from us, the racecourse ground end. It has been pulled high in the air out towards deep square leg and taken. Good catch at square leg. It went very quickly and very firmly. It was taken, fingers pointing up, and Jones has got to go for 28. She had a couple of 4s in that over, but Class has got a wicket. And England are now 137 for 6.
Yeah, that fuller delivery that we were talking about. I still don't think it was probably quite full enough, and Amy Jones will feel she's missed out there, because she could have put that anyway, picked out the fielder perfectly. But I think an important innings for Amy Jones. I think 28 off 17 balls. I thought she played nicely. She played with good intent, and look back to the Amy Jones that we know how destructive she can be, and a little cameo from her there, that'll make her feel better, which I'm happy about, because she's going to be in my 100 team soon. So the more runs she can get, the better. But brings out.
We were talking about it, weren't we, the other day, which is sort of where exactly does Amy Jones fit in the batting order? And actually today has been a good example of where she does fit in if wickets have fallen. She doesn't go too hard too early, but she's got all the shots. So as you get deeper into the innings, she can unfurl those shots. And it's been a very handy knock today. Now, I don't mean this in any way to disparage Sophie Eccleston, but Sophie Eccleston's coming out to bat. And again, I'm slightly disappointed, because I'd have liked to have seen Wong or Kemp. Yeah. With the bat, because we know what Eccleston can do, and it's the 6th of 6 white ball games, and England are 12-2 up, and there's Commonwealth Games down the corner.
Seniority, isn't it?
It would appear to be, yeah. Class to finish the over. Batters have crossed. It's driven firmly by Brunt out through extra cover. That'll run away for 4 more. That was full, but Brunt has wonderfully found a gap between cover and extra cover all along the ground. And so successful over wicket-wise for Masabata Class, but she conceded 3 boundaries in it. 141 for 6. England have got 2 overs to go. Eccleston will be on strike. Brunt has 8. And don't worry, we are still here, even if the noise of the effects has suddenly disappeared in your ears. Be assured that Georgia Elwis and I, Daniel Norcross, are still. Well, there you go.
It's back.
There we go. The outside world is back to keep us company. Right, who's going to bowl these last 2? Well, Ayabonga Kaka, who has, Georgia, been the pick of South Africa's bowlers in these T20s, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has been, but it seems like the seam has gone today. It's the spin that's done all the damage, and my worry is that Class has gone for 36 off 3, and she's got to bowl the last over, unless South Africa go to somebody else for a 1 over spell.
Has Tryon bowled?
Yep, she's out. Yep.
She's out, yes, Tryon's out, you're right. Okay, here comes Kaka. Well, again, no. We've seen this a few times. Kaka has tended to lose her run-up a little bit, actually, in this series, just every now and then. Eccleston was waiting. What's the field? Long on is back. Well, there's nobody saving one on the onside. Long on, deep mid-wicket, deep square leg, and deep fine leg, and then 5 in the ring on the offside. Where's Eccleston going to go? Down the leg side, wide. He's signalled by the umpire.
Yeah, well, I actually think that this plan from Kaka is good. I think she's going to go in full at Sophie Eccleston's pads, and she's got that leg side field set. So I don't think the plan is bad. Just the execution of that delivery wasn't quite there. But it's given Sophie a tell, hasn't it? She knows what's coming now, so hopefully she can react to that.
What's she going to do? She's going to move outside the leg stump, try and hit it through the offside? No, she's going to just let the ball clatter into her pads. That was the ball that Kaka was trying to bowl first time. Just that little bit straighter on leg stump. And Eccleston got into a tangle. Could get nothing on it. She's going to have to try and manufacture a method here, though, somehow. So a general hitting arc is to the leg side, isn't it, Eccleston's?
Yeah, it is. And I think Catherine Brunt's just come down and had a word with her and said,
get me on strike.
I mean, probably knowing Catherine, yeah. No, it's exactly what she said to her.
Kaka into Eccleston, gives herself room, hits it back at the bowler. Straight back at her. So we had wide dot. This is good stuff from Kaka. Bowling to her field, which hasn't always been the case today. A bit confusing sometimes watching Classes bowling to the field that she had. Do you know, back in the day, Georgia, the commentary position used to be that little hut to the right there, square onto the wicket.
Yeah.
As Kaka is in, down the leg side, this will be called wide. And I was here once for a match between the Indians and Derbyshire in 2014, I think it was.
You're right.
And the one and only Chesney Hughes was batting, the left-hander. And I was in that box there, square, and he's a left-hander, you see. The umpire was between me and him and the stumps. Made life a little bit difficult. Kaka in again. Down the wicket comes Eccleston and hits it firmly down the ground up towards long off. A really good diving stop. Will keep the scoring to 2 as Brunt comes back for a second, so she wasn't that keen on the strike after all. Very firmly struck off drive, with Eccleston giving herself room outside the leg stump, as she has to with the field the way it is. She's done very well to get that ball as firmly struck as she did and where she got it, but wonderful diving stop from stand-in skipper Chloe Tryon, diving to her right, kept it to 2. Here's Kaka again. And has been pulled out towards deep mid-wicket. 1 bounce, 2 bounces, 4 runs. This time she moved outside the off stump and has fetched that. It was a bit shorter from Kaka. She's probably do with just sticking to what she was doing before, and England advanced to 149 for 6. So anyway, there's Chesney Hughes batting.
Yeah.
And it's the 5th ball of the over. And it's a very lacklustre game. The Indians are playing with 18 players, just giving everybody a bit of squad practice for a test match. And I did... And there's a lot of competition for this, but I did my very worst piece of commentary. As Kaka is in to Eccleston. Down the wicket she comes and squirts this out towards extra cover. Can't beat the fielder along the ground. There's no run. And he came forward, and I couldn't see properly because the umpire's in the way. But then they all just started trooping off. And I said, everyone's so bored of this game, they can't even be bothered to finish the last over before lunch. And as he moved away, I saw that his off stump had been knocked back. He'd been bowled. Deeply poor bit of commentary, that. Kaka in, driven by Eccleston up towards wide long off. It'll just be the single though, and that ends a pretty decent over in the end from Kaka, and a good spell. 4 overs, none for 33. She's taken more punishment today than on previous days, but she has a bit of credit in the bank after the last couple of games. And England are 150 for 6 with 1 over remaining. Eccleston on 7, Brunt on 8.
Yeah, and obviously they've got to finish with class, and I think Sophie Eccleston will be. Well, we just see Catherine Brunt talking her through what to do now, don't we?
Yeah.
Catherine Brunt is definitely going to want to get down the other end, but Sophie Eccleston, she hits a clean ball. She just needs to keep her head, stick with her plans. We've seen class go the distance today. She's going at 12 runs and over. If England get 12 off this last over, they'll be pretty happy with that, and that'll be a strong finish to go into the break.
So fine leg is up, deep square, deep mid-wicket and long on, all back on the onside, and a long off is back. That's the other boundary rider. And then you've got these 4 fielders from short third, point, cover, extra cover, saving 1. Class at the top of her mark. She's in, right arm over, and full toss is smashed over the top of point. That's going to run away for 4. A poor ball from Class, possibly straining for the Yorker, and she's overstrained. It was wide and a full toss, and that was exactly the ball that Eccleston wanted. 154 for 6.
I just do not understand the plan here. Even if she is going for a Yorker, it's so far outside off with the whole of the offside up. It makes absolutely no sense to be going for that ball. It's really poor bowling, but well put away by Eccleston in the end, because she really had to reach for that one.
Yeah, it was a dreadful ball, and Shabnim Ismail is looking on, thinking, oh, and she's just shaking her head actually. Oh dear. Class 1 for 40 and 3.1. She's in now. Eccleston gives herself some room and flicks it all through. Fine leg. Who really should have stopped that, and it's run away to the boundary for 4. The wheels are somewhat falling off here at the back end, which is a shame because South Africa have performed more creditably in the field today. Certainly with the ball, there have been some bits of sloppy fielding though. And this time Eccleston picks up a boundary on the leg side. Just any kind of hand on that would have saved at least 3, but she let it run through her fingers and down to the boundary for 4. 158 for 6. Eccleston has 15 from 8. I was going to say this is what she can do. She's been slightly wind assisted here, if you know what I mean, by the bowling. But she is moving around her crease. She's trying to find those gaps where they are. Class is in, and that's been heaved into the offside, high in the air. Fielder's running in, and it'll land just in front of her. Nothing that Wolfark could have done about that. A great running from Brunt. Oh, gets them back for a second, and then in backing up, the ball has just flown off a sort of slightly curvy part of the square and nearly taken out the fielder. But she survives. 160 for 6. They get back for a couple. Eccleston to 17. Oh, yeah, oh, nasty. We've just seen the replay. That's horrible. The outfield will be very hard. I mean, there's been a very little rain in any part of England, really. In comes Class again. Oh, wow! That has gone miles! That has gone for 6, and a huge 6 at that. Eccleston has picked that up off her toes. It was fired into leg stump, and with a beautiful swing of the bat, has sent that over the boundary. Well, over the boundaries are only ever so slightly in. That would have been 6 wherever you put the boundary here today. That was going all the way. That has gone in pretty much where the old commentary box was, and we're not too far over to one side of the square. That is a mighty blow. 166 for 6. Eccleston is punishing South Africa here, and Class's 50 is up.
Oh dear.
Nasty. 1 for 52. She's got 2 more balls to endure. Eccleston waits, bat raised. She gets a slower full toss, which is well cover driven, square driven out to the boundary for 4 more. How many runs have come off this over? I need my scorer. We've had a 6, we've had a 4, we've had another 4, we've had a 2, 6, 4, 20. 20 with 1 ball remaining.
Oh dear. And that, and you said in the power play it was like a highlights package, but this whole over's a highlights package, isn't it?
Isn't it? Isn't it?
You've got a feel for it though. You've got a feel for the bowler.
Oh,
here,
dreadful.
Really.
You want the world to swallow you up at this point, don't you? 1 ball left. Here we go. Last ball of the innings. She's in, and Eccleston whacks it again. There's going to be 6 more. Is that even further? It's about the same distance. It's gone over the fence. The fence, I tell you. For another towering 6. 26 runs have come off the last over of Ayaponga Kaka. We'll be thinking, what have I done in this series to deserve Masabata Class's 26 off the last over? 1 for 62 off 4 she ends with. It wasn't great bowling, but it was great batting at the end, and in fairness to her, she's only missed her length by a little bit there, and Eccleston has just picked it up again off her toes, over square leg, this time a little bit finer than the previous 6, and propelled England to 176, which at various points I thought they might reach 200 in the power play. Then I thought they'd be lucky to get 140, and with that, what did she get at the end? 33 off 12 or something insane. I'll have to double check this. I tell you, this is why we need a 33 off 12. What's 33 off 12? 33 off 12 balls at the back
Goodness
end.
me.
So that's why they didn't send in Izzy one
That
more
is,
for Eka.
yeah, exactly. What do we know? What do we know? But superb striking that from Sophie Eccleston. She is a hugely clean striker of a ball, and those were big sixes straight off the bat. There was absolutely no doubt when you saw her hit those that they were going for anything other than six. And it was poor bowling, but I think by the end, by that last over, Masabata Class had gone in the head, and really that last over was always doomed for being a big run scoring over.
Well, yeah, there's big though, Georgia, and then there's 26.
I know. We've all been there.
Oh, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. Let me run you through the scorecard. We'll be the restart will be in about 9 minutes' time, and it's been a really fun 20 overs actually, right from the very beginning. When Sophia Dunkley, England having won the toss, elected to bat on what looks like it is a good pitch despite its green tinge. Sophia Dunkley was out to the very first ball. Jack Rule thinks that's a platinum duck or a royal duck. I don't know what a diamond duck is then, someone will have to tell me what that is. The very first ball caught by Wolfhard, a backward point off Mlaba, the slow left armour, who was the pick of South Africa's bowlers today. Next to go was Alice Capsey for 25 off 17. Doesn't quite tell the full story though, because she counter-attacked the moment she came in, took 16 off Masabata Class's first over and set the tone really for Class's day. She went caught by Tryon off the bowling of Mlaba's second wicket. That was 41 for 2 just at the start of the fifth over. Siva, who was a bit scratchy today, survived a couple of appeals, was given out LBW, and then it was overturned on review, but only by a tiny fraction. She wasn't even sure whether she should have taken the review. She went for 24 when she was bowled by Mlaba. Mlaba had the first 3 wickets. England were 86 for 3. Next to go, Danny Wyatt, straight after the very next ball, was bowled by Chloe Tryon for 30 off 25. It was 86 for 4, and suddenly the good start was melting away. Maya Bouchier and Amy Jones then got things back on track with not a rapid partnership, but a consolidating one of 28 in 4.2 overs before Bouchier was run out in comical fashion. She should have been given out caught behind, sweeping, got a top edge to it, quite a thick top edge. Umpire didn't give it, but Jafta, Salala Jafta, the keeper, was wise to and alert to the fact that Bouchier had just drifted out of her ground and whipped the bails off for good measure, so she had to go 114 for 5. Amy Jones, 28 off 18 before she was caught by Brits off Class. And then, the last 39 runs came in just 13 balls. 33 of them, Sophie Eccleston in 12 balls, 4 fours, 2 sixes, a wonderful knock down the bottom of the order that propelled England to 176 for 6. That was, I've been just told by my producer Charlotte Swift, the second most runs in an over in a women's T20. What's the most? We don't know that. We'll find that out. So, bowling figures, Mlaba. You're going to get a great contrast here. Mlaba, 4 overs, no maidens, 3 for 22. Class, 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 62. Nearly 3 times as many. Ayabonga Kaka, 4 overs, no maidens, none for 33. Chloe Tryon, 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 22. The spinners going well here. And Damari Tucker, 4 overs, none for 31. So, England finish on 176 for 6. A target of 177 for South Africa is going to be a very tall order the way their batting has progressed so far in this series, Georgia.
Yeah, and I think actually before that last over, England sitting on 150, South Africa probably would have been pretty happy with that. It's a quick scoring ground, the wicket's good, and I think that 26 off the last over is just taking it too far out of their reach. I think they're going to have to bat better than they've batted this whole series, and they're going to have one of their big top 4 get a big score here, because otherwise I just can't see how they're going to chip in and all get to 177. I think this England bowling lineup is so strong. I'm so excited to see Freya Kemp charge in. I hope she takes some overs in the power play, and you just don't see it with South Africa, where who's going to step up really. You've got big players missing. Zelli at the top of the order, you'd fancy if she got on a roll she could have produced something special, but at the moment they're low on confidence, aren't they? They're out of the habit of winning, and you just struggle to see how they're going to amass 177.
Well, Chloe Tryon is a skipper today, standing in for Sinelise. Might she take the view that there's no way we're getting to 177 unless I bat quite a lot of these overs?
I think that's a really positive approach, and I would love to see it. I'd love to see her come in the top of the order, number 3, and promote herself up there. But it seems like the South Africans are quite slow to do those sorts of positive things, and it's almost an afterthought when they do. I know they've changed their opening partnership, which came off last game. They put on some good runs, but they're going to have to tap into Laura Wolvart, Chloe Tryon. They're going to have to bring some big runs tonight to get anywhere near this total.
Now, you talked about being positive, and England have been positive, it seems to me, by including in their lineup Izzy Wong, Freya Kemp and Alice Capsey. This is an entire change of the guard. Sarah Glenn's not old either, for that matter. This is suddenly a new look England side, and over the years, England women's cricket has been quite glacially slow to change its personnel. Part of the reason for that is an obvious one, that without professionalisation there probably weren't as many players to choose from.
Yeah.
And that's changing. But this is a very exciting time for women's cricket, isn't it? Talk us through a little bit about those players I've discussed there, Wong, Capsey, Kemp, and also who might be coming through even behind them or alongside them.
Yeah, well, the 3 of them are fantastic prospects. I think we saw what Alice Capsey could do last year in the 100, and Izzy Wong, to be fair. And let's not forget, Izzy Wong may not have had a summer like she has, because actually she wasn't included in the original Test match lineup. She was the travelling reserve, and it was only because how she's impressed in that, and then unfortunately Emily Arlott having to go home and withdraw from the squad, that she got her opportunity, and then she's taken it this summer. We've seen the pace that she's got, and I really like that. I think I like how she goes about her work, the way she comes in and she's that enforcer. She takes wickets, which is obviously key and vital, but we've seen both the way Capsey and her have played in the last couple of games. Is they're just fearless, and I think that's one big thing. Freya Kemp as well. They come in and they're just not fazed by the big occasion. They're used to playing in the 100 in high pressure environments, and I think that's something that then allows them to come into an England environment, and it's not too dissimilar. I think you're right in that we haven't had that depth because we haven't had the professionalism at the domestic game. Now that's coming in. We are going to see more and more girls coming through and taking their chances, and I actually think there's probably a few names on the circuit now who could come into a lineup and perform, because the standard is not that different. I'm excited for the future. I think we've got girls all around the domestic setup who are very ready, and that's at all ages. We mentioned when we spoke off air earlier about not just the youngsters coming through, but the players who are having their chance again. So we've got Alice Davidson-Richards, we've got Bryony Smith. I think another player, Lindsay Smith, is bowling fantastically well. She's taking wickets for the England A when they're playing against the touring sides. And then you've got the likes of Marie Kelly coming through. She scored 89 today against New Zealand, and I think the platform is there, and it's all about the girls now going out and performing. And the message quite clearly is, if you score runs and you take wickets, you're performing, you will get your chance in an England shirt.
Well, we're seeing that, aren't we, with Tammy Beaumont not being in the Commonwealth Games team, which is amazing. It's outrageous,
isn't it? The form that she's in, Emma Lamb, the form that she's in, Charlie Dean, the form that she's in, Lauren Bell. It's quite ridiculous that England can leave out names like that who've performed so well this summer and still have a team that is dominating against a good South African side.
It'll start to get very difficult to describe, well, it already is, I think, what the best 11 is.
Yeah.
Just an update, the most number of runs in a women's T20 over, it's no great surprise, Deandra Dottin, but it's 27.
Oh,
so you think what Sophie Eccleston's just achieved there? There have been a lot of overs in women's T20s.
Yeah.
That's all women's international T20s.
Goodness.
Only one over has gone for more than the one we saw today. What a time to be alive. I feel like I've seen it all this year. I saw Jasprit Bumrah hit Broad for 35 in an over.
Yes.
Now I've seen Sophie Eccleston do this. Look, it is thrillingly exciting what's happening in women's cricket. The Commonwealth Games is going to give a chance to showcase some of these players, and I'm on the edge of my seat because I'll be honest with you, I've never seen Freya Kemp live, and
You're looking forward to it, aren't you?
Oh well, I am, because the way you guys have described her, Emily and you have both played against her.
With her? Come on.
You've just been adamant about her skills.
Yeah. No, she's a starlet.
Well, I can't wait. I'm going to vacate because it's time for Emily Windsor to take you through the first 5 overs. The players are making their way out. There are some rather grubby clouds knocking about. They're quite high. The lights are fully on. I hope we don't get any rain interruptions. But South Africa You tell us, Georgia, what can they possibly do to salvage some pride here? They drew the test match, yes, but that was rain assisted, and they have been hammered in the previous 5 games. What can they do to restore some pride before their own Commonwealth Games campaign? And then it will be Emily Winter.
Well, in order to get anywhere near this total that England have set, 177 to win, they need to make use of this power play. And the first 6 overs, with only the 2 fielders outside the ring, they're going to have to go hard. The new partnership of Bosch and Goodall in this T20 series, fancy that they're going to keep that throughout the Commonwealth Games as well. So for them it will be about starting up a solid foundation, but they're going to have to go. They're going to have to make the most of this power play, the fielding restrictions, and get South Africa off to a great start here.
Yeah, these two in the second T20, an opening partnership for 102 runs. So they had spent some time together in the middle. Slip in play though from England. They're going to be aggressive. Offside field up, a third man and a fine leg back. Sarah Glenn's at third man and Freya Kemp on England debut at fine leg. And it'll be Izzy Wong with the new ball taking the first over. She's in bowls, and that's a thick outside edge down to third man. Sarah Glenn does the fielding. Bosch off the mark, she moves to 1. 1 without loss, South Africa. So slightly better than England were. England were 0 for 1. First win of the day.
Score comparison perfect at this stage.
Lara Goodall then. In the first T20 we saw her going for a big heave over the leg side and getting bowled by Catherine Brunt. But she got 42 off 34 in the second. So she'll have some confidence behind her, but the pace of Izzy Wong bowling from the far end to Goodall, and that's a player miss outside the off stump. That's a good delivery by Izzy Wong. 72 mile an hour.
Yeah, she's. I saw that after the first ball and I thought she's up for it tonight. It's change in hair colour from Izzy Wong, sporting the blonde look now, and she's bowling quick. She's fired up, and she charges in. She's got a lovely action.
Brings a change in field as well. That player miss. 2 slips now. Don't see that often in T20 cricket. Sophie Eccleston, after winning the X Factor, is in there. Wong bowls, and that's worked off her legs by Goodall. Sarah Glenn's running round quickly. I think they'll come back for 2. Yeah, good running from South Africa. Goodall off the mark. 3 without loss.
Yeah, I like the intent from England. I like the aggression from Nat Siva. Get those 2 slips in there. They're full of confidence, aren't they, England? 176 they posted. Sophie Eccleston, fantastic in that last over. And Izzy Wong will be loving this. 2 slips in the T20.
She charges in then. High knees, bowls, bowler! Izzy Wong with the first wicket. Georgia Elwish, you said she was up for it tonight. And Izzy Wong sends Lara Goodall back to the pavilion. Middle stump out the ground. That's England's first wicket, 3 for 1.
Tell you what, these youngsters make playing for England look so easy, don't they? She's just charging in. She's having the time of her life, the summer of her life. A fantastic delivery from Wong there. Fuller length, and that has swung a little bit, just gone straight through Lara Goodall. Beaten her for pace, I think, and just played all round that. Izzy Wong loves it. She's off on a celebration. The girls are with her. A huge smile on her face that we've not been able to get rid of all summer, have we? The way that she's played.
What a summer she's having though. Debut in all 3 formats in this South Africa series. Full of confidence, being backed by her England teammates, England captain on the field. You see her walking back to her mark now with Catherine Brunt. The experience of her sharing the field. Special out there from Izzy Wong.
Yeah, opening the bowling for England, and I don't know whether she'd have quite dreamt of this summer, but something obviously as a kid growing up, opening the bowling for England. She's just clean bowled, zinger bails everywhere, and she is having the time of her life. Chatting to Catherine, but I think she's telling her how to bowl now. Everyone says, yeah, I'm going to bowl her a bumper now. Yeah, that's it.
Tasmin Brits then comes to the crease.
She is as well, isn't she? Look, moving her field.
Is it going to be a bluff though? So she's got a deep fine leg. It's Freya Kemp out there, more of a long leg, and still a third man. As Izzy Wong in, and that's shorter, and that's pulled down to that long leg. Freya Kemp out there, first touch of the ball in an England shirt. Fires it back in to Amy Jones. 4 for 1, South Africa.
Yeah, it's good from Izzy Wong. She's got a real presence, hasn't she, with the ball. She knows exactly what she's trying to do, the role that she's been given in this England side. Just seen a replay of that ball that bowled Goodall, but I don't think there was a huge amount of swing. I think she's just played all round a straight one, to be honest with you.
Too quick, Georgia, too quick. Wongy in again, bowls, and that's a thick outside edge. Sarah Glenn does the fielding. So that's Izzy Wong, not Wongy. Can't be saying that on radio. 5 for 1 anyway. The first over from Izzy Wong was definitely a special one. She's fired up. England are fired up. And they're going to want to finish this T20 series 3-0. It's a multi-format series. England have already won it. The score's 12-2. The 2 from the draw in the test match. And Catherine Brunt will be taking the new ball from the other end. Freya Kemp into the game in the ring, chatting to Catherine Brunt. And what will her word of advice be here? Freya Kemp going to have a word with England's senior bowler.
I don't think she's going to say anything. She doesn't have many words at the best of times, does Freya Kemp, but
she does to you, Georgia. We have to talk about your bromance. While I'm on air and Freya Kemp's in eye shot, we're going to have to talk about this. Tell you what, if Georgia needed a coffee, Freya Kemp's there. If Georgia needed anything, in fact, Freya Kemp's there. As Catherine Brunt in bowls, a bit of a way swing and plays into the offside. Sophia Dunkley in quickly, back into Amy Jones' gloves.
Yeah, she's a great egg, isn't she? We've developed this new routine. Actually, she's the reason I'm not scoring any runs at the moment, because she's moved up to England. My whole routine's gone. I don't have a hit with her in the morning. She doesn't mark a run out with me, and all those superstitious cricket fans. That's the reason.
Catherine Brunt then, blonde hair bowls, and that's 4, and that's work to mid wickets. Maya Bouchier does the fielding, fired back into Amy Jones' gloves again. Tidy work from England.
But it's quite frightening, really, because I've batted with her a fair few times this season, and she's a fantastic player. And then she was telling me that she's taken a driving test, and I'm thinking, how can you not be driving, but you can make the game of cricket look this easy? She's a fantastic prospect.
Brunt in again, right arm over bowls, and that's guided down to third man nicely by Bosch. Sheer move to 3. Score 6 for 1. South Africa chasing 177 to win. Fantastic last over from Sophie Eccleston. 26 runs from it. Some huge sixes, Georgia.
Yeah, and they were effortless, weren't they? I mean, it wasn't like she was trying to muscle the ball anywhere, but the timing that she had, and that is her area. She does pick them up well there.
Brunt at the top of her mark again. Floodlights are on. The flags are flowing in the distance, and that's guided down to third man again by Brits. Sophie Eccleston can't keep her out of the game. Fires it back into Amy Jones' gloves. 8 for 1.
I think the stat about Freya Kemp being born after Catherine Brunt started her international career is just insane, isn't it? I don't think we should tell Catherine Brunt that one. I don't think she'll enjoy that one, but
I'll tell you who will, Freya Kemp. Either that or Freya Kemp though, no, we'll be like, yeah, I know that. Yeah. Catherine Brunt into Bosch, who's cut that away. She's used the pace on the ball. Sophie Eccleston won't get round. No, she doesn't. Catherine Brunt looks at her in disappointment, Sophie Eccleston. But that's 4 runs to Bosch. She moves to 7, 11 for 1.
Yeah, I think Catherine Brunt was expecting more of a dive there from Sophie Eccleston, as Catherine Brunt always does. I saw the piece of fielding that she did at Worcester, which was quite magnificent, where she threw the ball back in off the boundary and then nearly caught the catch again. She gives 100% to absolutely everything, and she'll be disappointed with that one.
Previous ball were 4 then. Brunt in, and that's shorter and hit Bosch. And Brunt, you can hear her there on the effects mic, annoyed, but that's 2 overs gone. 11 for 1 South Africa in reply to England's 176.
I don't quite know what she's so frustrated about there.
We're going to see some Freya Kemp, Georgia.
Oh yes.
The hat's off. So those that don't know Freya Kemp, me and Georgia obviously know her very well. She plays for the Southern Vipers. She's 17 years old. Left arm seamer, making her England debut today. Presented her cap from Charlotte Edwards, former England captain. Southern Vipers head coach. She's an extremely talented cricketer, not just a bowler, an all-rounder. Get you her stats in Rachel Hayhoe Flint T20 Charlotte Edwards Cup. She's 9 wickets, economy of 6 runs and best figures of 2 for 13. Batting 54 runs but an average of 27, and the most impressive thing, strike rate of 114. But this is a big moment for Freya Kemp. Georgia looking nervous.
No, nervous. Freya Kemp, I've never known somebody more suited to playing international cricket in my life.
Left arm over then, in bowls, and that's outside the off stump. Finds cover, will be a dot ball. Just straight on the money. Just hits a hard length, running in, doesn't look phased again.
So easy, isn't it? Alice Capsey coming out and batting as she did. And
that's exactly what Freya Kemp did as well when she made her debut for the Sun Vipers this year. She just looks at home. A seriously talented cricketer as Kemp in bowls, and that's worked off her pads. They're running the first one hard. Izzy Wong quick to the ball. They're coming back for a second. They say no. Great decision in the end. 12 for 1 South Africa. Bosch on 7.
yeah, and she's been on the money straight away, hasn't she? And what she's got, obviously, that point of difference is being that left armour. She bats left-handed as well, something that England have been searching for a number of years. But she's such a threat with both bat and ball. I think she's just going to be a fantastic all-rounder for England.
Slip now in place to Bosch. Kemp in bowls. That's on the stumps. Rats are on the pad. They're appealing. Siver's excited, but Kemp's not. She's like, that's going down the leg side, skipper.
She knows, doesn't she? She's got a good cricket brain for someone so young. But I think the nice thing about the debuts of Capsey, of Kemp, of Wong, it shows the girls who are playing domestic cricket that if your performances are there, you're going to get noticed, and I think that's something that's really exciting.
Left arm seamer in then to Bosch. Bowls. That's heaved over the leg side. That will be 4 runs. Bosch picks up the length well and finds the mid-wicket boundary. Bosch 211, 16 for 1.
Yeah, it's a little bit too full there from Freya Kemp, and what that angle does is if you do get your length wrong, it gives a free swing to Bosch, and she's looking to go hard after the ball, and just placed it really on that leg side.
Used the pace of Freya Kemp. She had Catherine Brunt in her ear then, Sophie Eccleston giving her some words of advice, but she doesn't look phased. Just changing the field. Fine leg into the circle, a deep square leg and a deep third man. There's Kemp into Bosch. Bowls and an inside edge, misses the stumps by a fraction. Hand on head from Freya Kemp, but they scurry through for a single. Bosch to 12, 17 for 1.
And the other thing I think about the young players that are coming in, they're being asked to bowl in pressure moments for their teams, for their domestic teams, and we've seen Freya Kemp take the final over for us at the Southern Vipers a few times, and she's had to hold her nerve. So I think that then puts them in really good stead when they're having to make that step up to this. And I mean, they don't know what pressure is, do they?
Kemp in, arms pumping, bowls, and that's outside the off stump. It's up in the air. Catherine Brunt's chasing after it. She won't get there, and they come back for a couple. Again uppish, but that's a great first over from Freya Kemp. She's brought about some chances. 19 for 1 South Africa, 3 overs gone.
Yeah, a really good start there from Freya Kemp. She'll be happy she's settled into her international career. She bowled her first over. She's getting high fives all round from her teammates because she's creating opportunities, and that's what England want. They want wicket takers, and these young girls coming through now. Izzy Wong, Freya Kemp, Alice Capsey, we saw her take a wicket in her first over in Worcester. That's what they do, and they're coming into the game and they're playing with such freedom and confidence that they're making international cricket look so easy, and they're all having the time of their life. It looks like such a fun camp and a fun group to be around, doesn't it, at the minute? And they'll be super excited going into the Commonwealth Games next week too.
And Alice Capsey earlier, 25 off 17 balls, including 4 fours in a row. She looked right at home as well. That confidence is oozing. And speaking of young cricketers, Sophie Eccleston's coming onto bowl.
She's not that old herself, is she?
No, she's young but full of experience. Best left arm spinner, best spinner in world cricket. As she comes in and bowls, and that's pushed into the offside. They come through for a quick single. Bosch to 13. 20 for 1. South Africa in reply to 176, 177 required to win. Eccleston did the damage with the bat. She's got the ball in her hand and bowls, and that's dug out by Brits. Angling it into the right-hander's pads.
Yeah, it's textbook bowling from Sophie Eccleston. Firing it in. No width at all.
Eccleston in again, bowls, advances, that's up in the air, that's over the top of mid-on, and that's one bounce 4. Good intent from South Africa. Brits moves to 5. She'll move to 9 actually, 24 for 1.
Yeah, it was just a little bit too full there from Sophie Eccleston. She's bowling the power play and she's got that mid-on and mid-off up. She needs to go more into the wicket. Brits just saw the flight and came down and just lofted the ball over the top, and she stood and held the pose as well, which I've not seen for a while.
Brits has a very upright stance as Eccleston in bowls, and that's hit to mid-on. Will be no run. Izzy Wong does the fielding, throwing it over Sophie Eccleston's head. But luckily, fielder backing up, Alice Capsey. Extra cover. Again, Bosch shets herself, taps her back twice, stood up tall as Eccleston bowls. Quicker one fired into the pads, but can only find Glenn at a very square fine leg. 24 for 1. One ball remains of this 4th over. Danny Wyatt sweeping on the boundary rope. Maya Boucher the other side. England's fielding has been fantastic all series. It was Eccleston in, slower delivery, plays up to mid-on, they're running. It's Cry have hit what Izzy Wong hits, but Brits is going to be home. It will go upstairs, we will have a look. But I think that will be a single.
Third umpire's director, we have an umpire review for run out. Can we go best side on angle, please?
Hear the voice of Sue Redfern, the third umpire. Izzy Wong picked it up cleanly and fires it in. Ooh, that's tight. It's a bit lazy running.
Please. Thank you.
It's going to be not out.
Yep. So backgrounded. I am ready to make my decision.
Goodness, it wasn't far away though, was it?
Should have been easily home, but she didn't go the full arm stretch or a dive. Lazy running really from Brits, but it will be not out. 25 for 1 then, 4 overs gone. Catherine Brunt coming back into the attack. Izzy Wong, sorry, coming back into the attack.
Get those two mixed up.
They both bowl quick and they're both right arms. So 1 for 5 then off her first over, Izzy Wong. As she charges in and the batter advances, and that's cut through third man and point. They're chasing after it, but with the pace of Izzy Wong, it's going to race away for 4. Brits to 14, 29 for 1 South Africa.
Yeah, there's nothing that's going to annoy a fast bowler more, is there, than a thick outside edge and the batter saying that she's meant it. Izzy Wong gave her a little bit of a few words as she ran past her. She certainly didn't mean to put it there, but 4 runs all the same. You take them as they come.
She walked down the pitch as well. I'm thinking this next one might be some chin music as Izzy Wong in bowls, and that's a player miss outside the off stump. 74 mile an hour now, Georgia.
Yeah, there you go. She's fired up, isn't she? It'll be so exciting to see throughout her career what sort of speed she can get up to. She's still growing. Get in the gym and do all her strength work, and there's been so much hype about Izzy Wong for the last few years, and I'm pleased for her that she's finally got a chance and she's making the most of it.
Izzy Wong charging in again, bowl, shorter ball, and that's down the leg side, so will be called a wide. 30 for 1 South Africa, the crowd booing that one.
I don't mind that, it's good aggression from Wong, showing Brits that she can get it up around her head and she can't just lump on that front foot against her.
What is it about Izzy Wong that she bowls so quickly?
I think she's just got a fantastic economical run up and she's really whippy through the crease.
In again, bowl, slower ball, and that's played up to mid wicket for no run. Good bit of bowling from Izzy Wong, changing up, expecting the pace, and Brits doesn't get hold of it. She's on 14.
Yeah, she's sort of it's not jogging to the crease, but it's definitely not a sprinting, and then she gathers nicely, nice bound, and then snaps through with that wrist at the crease and generates power that way.
Floodlights starting to take effect then as Wong in, and that's a full delivery driven straight down the ground. Brit used her feet, and that is a fantastic shot. She moves to 18, 34 for 1 South Africa.
Yeah, this is a fantastic shot from Brit. She's unsettling Izzy Wong, isn't she, by moving around the crease, and it's something we haven't seen a huge amount from the South African batters until this point. And you see that the trouble that it causes a bowler when you are moving around and you constantly have to change her lengths. And that's a fantastic shot. Izzy Wong's actually done quite well to get her boot out the way of that. And
She's had a bruise like you, Georgia. Georgia always has a very swollen bruised foot from a fantastic football touch, but unfortunately with the cricket ball on Saturday. As Izzy Wong into Brit's bowl, short ball that's pulled up in the air. Freya Kemp coming in, can't get there. Great attempt diving. I don't think she got anything on it in the end, but a good delivery by Izzy Wong. But that's 4 runs to Brits. She moves to 22, 38 for 1.
yeah, it was a fantastic effort in the deep there by Freya Kemp, showing her athleticism. Full length dive forward, but it would have been an absolutely fantastic catch if she'd taken that. I think only a half chance really. Just seeing whether she got a hand on it. No, straight through. Fantastic effort to make it anywhere near.
Well, she's certainly choosing to take on the short ball, but Freya Kemp comes into the circle. Long on is out now as Wong bowls. Slower delivery, and that's poked down to a backward point. Danny Wyatt diving prevents it from getting outside the circle, so it's a single to end the over. 5 overs gone, 39 for 1. Brits on 23, Bosch on 13, and a change in the commentary position, Daniel Norcross.
Yeah, fantastic start this from South Africa. Just what they needed to give themselves a chance to chase down 177 required to win. And, this partnership now is good. I like the intent. I like the way that they're moving around the crease. They're being aggressive. They're being attacking. And it's what South Africa have lacked this whole series, really, isn't it?
Well, they might have lacked Tasmin Brits.
Yes.
Easy
Fine
for me
she
to
is.
say.
Tasmin Brits.
Well, she's been around a while.
Yeah.
31. You know, she won gold in the 2007 Youth Games in javelin.
I had heard that she was a fantastic javelin thrower, but I didn't know that fact. That's very good.
Going to be selected for the 2012 London Olympics, and then had a road accident which kept her in hospital for 2 months.
Oh wow, goodness.
You'd think she might be a bowler though, wouldn't you?
Yes,
As well. You think she might give that a go?
Yeah.
I mean, if she can throw a mean javelin. Catherine Brunt from the race course end is in, right arm over the wicket. That's wide of the off stump, left alone. Standing up is Amy Jones. It's 70 miles an hour from Catherine Brunt, which is a challenge. Now, I've seen Amy Jones here. That normally, very safe pair of hands. But under lights in T20, do you remember it? Against the West Indies, I want to say.
I do.
And she struggles when it goes up, when you get high catches in the lights here. 4 in the offside, 3 on the leg side in the ring as Brunt is in. It's flicked in the air over mid-on, and it's going to run away towards the boundary. It's being pursued in vain by Sarah Glenn, and they're going to get 4 more. Tasmin Brits continues at great pace here. It's a shot of invention and, well, good execution. 27 off 18. She moves to 43 for 1.
Yeah, this intent, I love it. Probably a little bit lucky as well, which Catherine Brunt's not happy with, but she never is happy, is she, Catherine Brunt? You can't please her, so...
Well, you've got to have a bit of luck. If you're chasing 177, you're going to go for it. So you're going to play shots that are risky.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I agree.
Sometimes they come off, sometimes they don't. 5 in the ring on the offside now. That's been strengthened as Brunt is into Brits. And that's pushed back up the wicket, and there is no run. Tasmin is a thing, though. Tamsin, yes.
Tasmin, yeah.
Tasmin, is that normal?
I think it's quite a common South African name.
Is it Tasmin? Tasmin.
We'll have to ask Lizelle when she comes back on commentary.
Yeah, they do like Zeds, don't they? Yeah.
Lizelle.
You probably only get like 1 for it in Scrabble in South Africa. Brunt runs away from us. In and appeal for LBW. That looks really tight. Brunt likes it. Has it got just outside the off stump? Umpire Rob Bailey says no, not out. And I think Brunt's going to try and convince anybody who'll listen to her that they should have a look at this. He's asking Amy. No, actually, she talked herself into saying it's outside the off stump. Don't see the counter going down. She's not going to take it. She's not going to go for it. And that would have been, that is very commendable there. That makes for good matrimonial relations. So don't forget that Nat Siver is her wife here, and trying to convince her that should have been referred. And no, she's spot on. It's a little bit high, and it's outside the line of off stump because Brits had just moved outside the line there. Or was it Bosch, actually? I beg your pardon, because they ran through for the leg by. 43 for 1. Brunt into Brits. And Brits pulls at this, misses, and is brilliantly taken by Amy Jones, who tries to affect the stumping. I thought I might have just been about to see a first for me, which is somebody stumped off a bouncer. I've never seen that. It could yet happen. She slightly overbalanced in playing the shot, did Brits. She went for a big sweep. Ooh, I thought I heard 2 noises there, but Jones took that brilliantly. She's standing up to the stumps, and that's flown through. She had to take it away to her left, and she whipped the bails off. That is some skills. England have been very blessed with wicket keepers, haven't they? When you think of Sarah Taylor and Amy Jones.
Absolutely. Completely spoiled. I think Amy Jones was waiting in the wings for such a long time as well.
Must have been quite frustrating. Brunt runs away from us. Into Brits. Brits pushes forward into the offside, up to mid-off. Shy at the stumps. Misses, but I think Brits was home anyway. She ran well there. Gets through for the single. Moves to 28. End of the 6th over. 44 for 1. That is the end of the power play. So another 133 required by South Africa in 14 overs. That rate is therefore still just under 10 and over as Georgia Elwys takes a short break, and Lizelle Lee has rejoined us, another bezedded South African.
Here we go.
Yeah. Pleased with the start?
Oh yeah, very. It's a shame about the wicket we lost with Laura Goodall, but I mean the way these two has been going about it, it's been really good to see and refreshing to see. They've been going very positive. I'm just hoping they can keep this on for the next few overs.
Well, this is exactly what South Africa have lacked actually in this one-day series. It seemed to me is that sort of pugnacity and the coming back at England and really having a go at them.
Yep.
The role that you used to play, of course.
I think that positive intent, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And positive intent doesn't always mean boundaries. It just means show intent, show you want to take on a bowler.
And we haven't seen that, really.
No,
but we are seeing it now. Glenn in the attack. Oh, that ball's gone through Brit. She went back to a ball that was too full to play that shot to. And I think she must have... It's a bye has been given. So that must have just gone through with the arm. I don't think it's a wrong... Oh, it's actually bounced over the top of middle and leg, I think.
Oh, that could have gone either way, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
It literally just bounced over.
Just because they had. Actually, it wasn't so short.
As a batter, you just need that luck, don't you?
Oh.
Just sometimes. You just need a little bit of luck.
Off the back foot, pushed up to mid-off. There's no run. Is exactly what we were saying just then, actually, when Catherine Bunt was looking so angry that Brits had hit a 4. Which was it wasn't streaky, so it skewed a bit, off the inside half of the bat and hadn't gone to hand. But you need that. If you're going to chase 177...
You need luck.
Glenn In's been swung out towards deep mid-wicket. It's going away towards the boundary, but fielder is out there. Does well to run to a left and field. 1 more to the total, but Brits is striking it really cleanly. I'm forced to ask you, Lizelle, not where has she been all these years, because she debuted in 2018, but where has she been in this series? Glenn is in, and down the wicket. Oh, comes Bosch. And it's very nearly, run out, probably it would have been, as the ball went off inside edge onto pad, and Jones was very quick to the ball, and then threw it at the stumps, which allowed them to get through for a single.
To go to your question, I honestly can't give you an answer there, because she's been in the Island series.
Next delivery is defended from the crease by Bosch, and there's no run, just pushed back up the wicket.
She's played in the Island series and she just went home after that, so I don't know what was the discussions, but yeah, she's a decent player.
Glenn in, that's been swept firmly out towards deep square leg, but Sophia Dunkley is out there and will field after a little bit of a juggle, throws in over the top of the stumps on the bounce, end of the over. 48 for 1, Bosch 15, Brits 29. She's got a lot of power. I heard she was a javelin thrower in her youth.
Yeah, I think she went to the Junior World Champs. I think she did well there, and obviously her dream was to be an Olympic javelin thrower, and just before then she got in a horrible car accident. She was thrown out of the car. She spent months in the hospital. it's probably one of the worst accidents that I've actually heard of, and somebody that I know, and that just set her back. And actually, the doctors told her she wouldn't never be able to do sports or anything again. She has screws in her body, and yeah, it's. To be honest, I think it's a miracle that she's actually just standing right there and doing what she loves. I mean, obviously not javelin anymore, but now playing cricket for South Africa.
Well, she's more than holding her own. She's 29 from 24. Start of a new over. Eccleston's going to be bowling it. She's been bowling to Annika Bosch. And Bosch goes back into her crease, pushes back up the wicket. Oh, and there's a little fumble from Eccleston, but they don't come through for a run as Capsey tidies up. They've got to keep their foot to the pedal, to the metal, though, haven't they? The pedal to the metal. I'll
Just
get there
feels
in the
like
end.
they're going a little bit slower now, isn't it?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And you can't afford to, and chasing 177. Eccleston in, round the wicket, fired in, down the leg side. That's been swept fine off a pad, I think, but we'll wait to see the umpire's signal as it goes down for a single. It is a leg by. Fine leg tidies up. Fine leg's a little wide. Allowed them to get that single, 49 for 1.
I think the good thing about England series innings is they got the odd boundary, and South Africa's struggling a bit with that.
Eccleston in, reverse sweep, gets this fine. That's going to run down towards the boundary. It's being pursued by Freya Kemp, who does a slide and a stop and then flings in left arm and keeps the score to just 2 more. 51 for 1, 50 up. Brits to 31. So she's got all the shots here, Brits.
I think she's going to try everything right now. I mean,
Nothing to lose, is it?
you have nothing to lose. I mean, you're chasing a score of 177. You can't not try and score boundaries at the moment, and that's what I've just said about England scoring those boundaries regularly, and South Africa struggling with that at the moment.
Well, there's a Commonwealth Games place up for grabs here as Eccleston bowls again, and another reverse sweep. This time finds backward point, which is Kemp, but they do get a single for it. The throw sails over Amy Jones's head, is tidied up by Anya Shrubsole. 52 for 1. It just feels like a more positive lineup. Yep. Suna Elise is obviously not in the best of form at the moment. She's chewed up quite a lot of balls in white ball so far against England in this series. This has been swung out towards deep mid wicket on the bounce. It'll be stopped by Maya Bouchier and thrown in. 1 more to the total.
Yeah, I just think that's the thing why we spoke about intent. I mean, like I said, intent is not always hitting boundaries, but showing that intent that you're wanting to score runs and you're hungry for runs. And I think that lacked a bit by Sune. It didn't really look like she was trying to get out there and score the most runs possible, whereas Tasman Britt, it looks like she wants to score runs and she's hungry for runs.
She's on strike now, back raised, comes down the wicket and gets Yorks herself really, but she manages to dig the ball up towards deep mid wicket. And Danny Wyatt does the fielding. 1 more to the total, 54 for 1. But this is exactly right. None for 11 off 2, Eccleston. Just the 5 runs off that over. But every ball, both batters were trying to hit it. And that is the difference. And, you know, I've got to say, Lizelle, it's probably difficult for you to comment on this, but feel free if you can. But it sort of felt up in the commentary box that it was a bit lacklustre in the field from South Africa as well, especially in those one days. The first one at Northampton, we saw the 2 senior players, Suna Elise and Marizanne Kappa, deep third and fine leg, while England are sort of just making their way towards a target of 219, 220.
It just looked too easy, didn't it?
It looked too easy.
Yeah, and especially Sune, that's a captain. It's captain of the side. You want in the inner ring, speaking to your bowlers, making sure there's always plans, and like you said, fielding on the boundary is not something you're used to being seen by a captain. Marizanne Kappa, on the other hand, I was surprised seeing her on the boundary because she has a few injuries inside of her shoulder, so
you don't really want to throw it.
She actually has to field in the inner ring, so that was a bit surprising to see.
Kemp starts a new over. Left arm over the wicket. First ball has been driven firmly, but straight at Capsey at short extra cover, who fields well on the bounce. She's fielding in Heather Knight's position. Heather Knight not available today.
Don't you just like... Yeah, that's... I heard she's struggling with a bit of a niggle.
Little hip.
Hopefully that gets sorted before the Commonwealth Games, because they're really going to need her. I mean, she's a great player and a great captain.
Kemp in again. Left arm over on debut today. This is a short ball which is pulled at and missed, and it's right in the midriff. It's a painful blow for Brits. She's just leaning over her bat at the moment, just getting her breath back. Let's see a replay of that, but it's hit her right in the stomach, I think.
Yeah, that looks very painful.
side of the body, perhaps. She's come advancing. Oh, yes.
And
It's
even
a
from the bat, that just makes it a bit more worse.
inside edge onto groin, let us say. So she's just taking a little moment to compose herself.
We've all been there. We've all had one of those.
It's an occupational hazard of this game, isn't it?
Danger pay.
Game in a slower ball, but she fetches from outside the off stump and pulls it out to mid wicket. The throw comes in. She's home, but it wasn't far away from hitting the stumps there from Nat Siver, England's stand-in captain. Got stand-in captains left, right, and centre. 55 for 1. She moved to that ball really well, did Siver. She only had one stump to aim at, and she hit it. I think she would have been
so
home,
close.
but just.
No,
Yeah.
standing captain and a brilliant fielder. I think she's probably one of England's best fielders, and now obviously taking the role as captain as well.
Kemp runs in once more. Bosch cuts at this, reaches for it, and takes it out to the to Maya Boucher on the deep cover boundary. There'll just be the one more run, but South Africa are going after this. You can't criticise them for that today. They've been a different outfit today. It's been a pitch that's assisted the spinners more than the seamers.
Yeah, we saw that in England's series, in South Africans' bowling innings. I mean, if you have to look at the economy rates, the pace bowlers actually went for a lot more runs than the spinners today.
Well, 62 Class went for, I think, in the end. That's much slower ball from Kemp. A clever ball. It's taken on the full. Throw comes in the non-striker's end. There's an unusual shot was played by Brits. I don't quite know how I'm going to describe that. It was sort of an attempted ramp, but the ball came so slowly to
ramp type of thing, yeah.
with a vertical bat, and it went to point to short third.
I don't
Just
think she
sing it.
expected that slower ball.
She's adjusted quite well there, actually.
She has.
she's got a single for it. 57 for 1. Kemp in again, swing and a miss, and wow, is this going to be a stumping? Well, Bosch has gone for it. She's walking off. I think she knows she's out. It was shortish outside the off stump. Really well taken by Amy Jones. She's just overbalanced.
We have an umpire review.
That's the thing about England's delivery. Amy Jones, one of the best. And, I mean, standing up close, that's amazing.
It is amazing. Just a mild apologies if you heard a reverb then on the effects mic.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. But right, it's short. It was wide of the off stump. It's brilliantly taken by Jones, and she has got it.
Please.
That's the first international wicket, isn't it?
That is her first
Yeah,
international
that's
wicket.
the
Spot
first
on.
So gap between bat and ball, keep through.
So-
Clear gap, bat and ball, through.
Okay, satisfied, no bats involved. Go with your best side on angle, please.
Right, so they just checked the court behind, and it's not out. Foot's in the air and out.
I am
Something,
ready.
make my decision.
So Freya Kemp has got her first international wicket. It's a decent bit of bowling, but it was an even better piece of keeping.
Great keeping. I mean, there's not a lot of keepers that can do that. And standing up, a ball that you nearly take
Shoulder.
shoulder height,
yeah.
and then you check the stumps. I mean, that's brilliant.
I mean, you've kept a lot in your time, and it's a fair bit. I've seen you keep it, but that is tough, isn't it? 'Cause the difficulty is.
I won't say a lot, and I don't even think I look like a keeper when I'm keeping. But
Hey,
my job was to stop the ball, and
You
I think
you
I did a
stopped it.
decent job.
you did. You stopped the ball, and that is first and foremost the job of a keeper. But the very best keepers.
They take the stumpings.
They take the stumpings. And that is it's a tough one to do, because your issue there is you've got to get it from your shoulder down to the stumps.
She has quick hands. She has real quick hands.
But a first international wicket for 17-year-old Freya Kemp, the first player to be selected for England since Catherine Brunt started her career. Next delivery is aimed to be worked into the onside, and it just comes off the pad of Brits. And there is no run as Amy Jones tidies up. 57 for 2. We've started a new over. Nat Siver is bowling it. And England massively on top here. South Africa needing 120 from around about 11 overs. Siver in, bowls a slower ball down the leg side. It'll be signalled wide by umpire Bailey. I always think that's a little bit unfortunate, because you sort of foxed the batter.
I know.
So close, you know.
You know what? I actually played in a club game this weekend, and even if they bowl it a bit leg side, it can go a fair bit. It's not a wide, so I had to get used to it. And now coming back to this, it's just a little bit out leg side, and it's a wide. It's a tough game, isn't it?
Siver in short. Oh, what a take from Jones. And I think it'll be another wide. It will be another wide, but she's just saved 4 runs there, because that was a bouncer, and it went a long way down the leg side, and Jones is standing up. Siver's not the quickest, but she's certainly not the slowest either. And she's taken that left-handed and poured it down into the ground and saved 4 runs. Siver in again. And this has been worked into the onside by Brits, out towards deep backward square leg. Field is convergent. They'll come back for a couple of runs. Was good running.
That's great running. I mean, we're going to need more of that now. I mean, South Africa is 61 for 2 after 9.2 overs. I think they would have liked to be a bit more, especially chasing 177. England had 26 runs in the last over, and I don't think we'll be doing that.
Siver in. And this is just dabbed into the offside. They're going to go through for a quick single, and they will make it. 62 for 2. Just a question though, Lizelle here. It surprised me at the start of this T20 series that Woolfart wasn't at the top of the order, and then I sort of understood some of the reasoning for it, but I didn't understand Lease at 3. But when you need 178, hasn't Tryon and Woolfart got to come up the order? They've got to have as many balls as possible, really. This ball worked into the onside. Brunt moves to her right to do the fielding, which Maya Bouchier gets there first, running in from the deep square leg boundary. 1 more to the total.
I think that's maybe one of the problems with the South African lineup is maybe there is that flexibility, but it hasn't been tried out. Even though they do speak about it, they just never do it. And I agree 100%.
Siver in. This is flicked off her leading edge. It's running out towards deep cover, and it's bounced just in front of Dunkley, who dives for the catch, doesn't get there, and as a result the ball bounces into the sponge for 4. Perfectly reasonable from Dunkley. Why not go for the catch?
Yep.
But if you do that and you miss it, then you'll concede 4 runs. 4 fortuitous runs to Brits, who moves to, I think, 42. I think the scoreboard's just running a little bit behind us. I think it's 67 for 2. But we'll see in a minute. It is 67 for 2.
42.
Brits on 42. Last ball of the 10th over. Siver is into Brits, who comes forward and defends a slower ball. Back to the bowler. End of the over. 67 for 2. Woolfart has 1. Brits has 42. Lizelle Lee more on perhaps the tactical inflexibility of South Africa in this series, and then take you through the next 5 overs. It'll be Emily Windsor.
Yeah, it was like I was saying. I mean, even though they speak about it, of having that flexibility where you can actually change, even if you have a batter like Chloe Tryon, supposedly having coming at number 6, if they have a good power play, why not bring her up to number 3 or number 4 if the situation requires that? I mean, like I said, it's something that they do speak about, but it just doesn't happen. And if you have a look at a lot of all the other teams, they are very flexible with their lineups, and that's what's making them so what can I say? Successful. That's my word. I was trying to get the word, but that's what's making them successful, and South Africa is not doing it.
And you feel, I actually on this point, I feel similar with England. They very rarely will mix up their order, but the team that does it well are Australia, and they're leading the women's game, aren't they?
Of course.
And it is something I think the teams need to be flexible, because you've got a batter like Laura Woolfart, who's now got an awful lot to do. The score 67
overs,
for 2 at 10 overs. England were 80 for 2, so they're not miles off, but they are behind that rate.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I know South Africa lost the early wicket with Laura Goodall, but you had Tasman Brits, and Anneke Borscha was actually doing extremely well, and yeah, you lost another wicket with Anneke, but I think the other thing is we just keep on losing wickets at stages we really need to kick on a bit, and that's where I feel, especially like a team like England, even though they didn't show that tonight, they normally do that kick on when they really need it. So as soon as you think, listen, this is the over we can maybe target, it happens that there's a wicket that's falling.
Yeah, well, it's having some drinks at 10 overs, which is why there's a slight delay, and the umpires are just rallying the England fielders back to their positions, and the South Africa batters back to the crease. But Woolfart's at the crease. She's the danger girl. She's in form. Lovely cricketer to watch bat, isn't she?
Yes, and even better to bat with. I mean, I have done it for a while, and look, she's an amazing person, amazing human being, on and off the field. One of those players you can actually go and speak to whenever you want to, and not even about cricket things, she's just a lovely person. And
She's very young as well, isn't she?
oh yeah, I keep on forgetting that. I think she's 22 or something. I honestly, she plays like a 30-year-old. I mean, the maturity in her game is amazing, and that's the thing that we're forgetting, is that she's 22 and she still has a long way to go.
Sarah Glenn to bowl the 11th over then to Wolvart, and that's cut through an open cover. Maya Boucher does the fielding, so it'll be a single. Wolvart to 2, 69 for 2, South Africa. And as you said, she's got a long way to go, but she goes and plays in all the franchise tournament, Big Bash, and she's such a talented cricketer. And where she'll be when she's older is frightening. As Glenn bowls, and that's hurried onto her Brits, and she digs it out. She's on 42 off 37. A nice innings from her.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she's been playing really well. I'm hoping she can go a bit more on the front foot, trying to hit that straight.
Glenn into Britt, bowls, and that's a sweep into the onside. Sophia Dunkley comes in from deep square leg. It's a bit bobbly out there on that boundary, and the reason for that, I can tell you that actually, it's 70 for 2. Michael Bublé had a concert here.
Michael Bublé.
And the stage,
You can see the marks.
was down to our left. As Sarah Glenn in bowls, Wolvart uses her feet, and she's timed that out to a deep cover. Good bit of batting again from Wolvart, very appeasing to the eye. She moves to 4.
A lot of these grounds are being used for, I don't want to say music festival or shows.
The lights have come on.
I was like, what just happened?
As Glenn sets herself to bowl to Britt, who uses her feet, and she's gone for a massive heave into the onside and plays it onto her pads for no run. It's the money. I think it's for the money for these grounds.
Yeah, of course. Has to be.
Well,
And it's
Derby
big,
might
it's
be
big.
Michael Bublé fans. We never know. As Glenn bowls, and that's worked into a vacant mid-wicket. Danny Wyatt's charging in. Keeps it to a single. She's so quick out there and got a gun arm. Brits to 44. 72 for 2, 11 overs gone. The reason I know that there was a concert there, because we played here, the Sun Vipers played Loughborough Lightning. It was like the
I'm
week
sorry,
after.
are we speaking about the Sun and Vipers again? Is that like a feature? So there was
Anyway,
a cricket game.
There was a cricket game
cricket
here that I
yeah.
played in. And the outfield was really great, and you could really see the stage. So the groundsman had done very well
To hide it.
to cover it up. But it still does look a little bit bobbly out there.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody's been listening, but she does play for the Vipers. And yeah, so we can just get that clear. The Southern Vipers.
Moving on, Alice Capsey, a South East Stars player, has come into the attack. The off-spinner, the young off-spinner, just a second T20 international bowls, and that's worked into the leg side. A cry of no, Laura Wolvart's having to turn and scurry back. Ends up with a dot ball. But Brits didn't want that one. You
I
don't
don't
want to
even
run
think there
out.
was a one though.
I
to be
don't think there
honest.
was a run. She
No.
wanted off strike, didn't she?
Yeah.
71 for 2, South Africa require 177 to win. Capsey bowls, flattered delivery and outside edge out to cover. Catherine Brunt runs round the ball to pick it up. It's just a single. England will be happy with singles, 105 or 52 balls.
It's very possible, isn't it? Like, I mean, you have to. Thank you. You have 2 batters that can actually do the job, and I mean, if they can kick on now, not losing a wicket, maybe getting the odd boundary, I think they can really get this.
Quick outfield. As Capsey in bowls, Wolvart advances and knocks it up to long on. Nice and controlled. Sophie Eccleston does the fielding. Wolvart to 4. 73 for 2, South Africa. Capsey just varies her pace. Young off spinner. Just looking right at home in an England shirt as she bowls, and that's Fuller, and that's worked up to mid-off. Izzy Wong does the fielding. A dot ball. Brits on 45. Is she in the nervous 40s? Would she not be thinking of that? Is she
No,
that
I
type
think
of
she will
person?
definitely be thinking about that. She'll definitely want to score that 50.
There's certain players, isn't there, that know, and
Yeah.
there's certain players that will be completely oblivious on what they're on. As Capsey, and she does a little dummy, and that's worked past her up to mid-on for a single. Just one boundary away. She moves to 46.
Or it would just be players saying that they don't want to, you know? They're like, oh, do you look at your 50? No, I never look at runs. I never look at the scoreboard.
Do you look at the scoreboard?
Never look at the scoreboard.
You're lying.
No kidding. I do. You know, I have to see how many runs we need.
73 for 2. Wolvart gives herself room. That's hit hard down the ground. Eccleston comes round, so it'll just be a single. That's a great over from Alice Capsey, her first over of the game, just gone for 4 runs, 75 for 2, 12 overs gone.
Oh no.
And sadly, we're having a change in the commentary box. Liz Lee's going to be leaving us with a bang. And Anya Shrubsole will be joining us. There's a lot of laughter in this box tonight. And I feel like Liz Lee's the addition. And, well, she's just tore me apart. And now she's, well, causing carnage. But it's great to have her here with us. That's for sure. And we'll be joined by Anya Shrubsole for just a bit of calmness, I'm hoping.
Yes, Lenny.
You might just have to give me a minute.
Okay, you've got 1 minute, Anya. 1 ball, actually, I'll give you. Sarah Glenn in bowls. Wolvart advances. That's beaten a diving cover. Maya Boucher's quick to the ball. They're going to come back for the second. She doesn't quite pick it up cleanly. Good running. Laura Wolvart moves to 7. 77 for 2.
Back. I've composed myself and I'm
Missed
back.
you, Anya. Missed you.
Missed you too, Annie.
Who's winning? Glenn in bowls. Advances. Hits down the ground. She's hitting the ball hard, but can only find the fielder. Catherine Brunt at long off does the fielding.
Sorry, do you like to use your formal name on once you're on radio? Sorry, Emily.
Thank you. 78.
Emily Lauren Windsor.
Why am I getting it today? 78 for 2. I'm just going to focus on the cricket. I'll leave them to it. As Glenn in bowls, swept into the leg side. Danny Wyatt, 1 bounce, takes it cleanly and keeps it to a single. Brits to 47, 80 for 2 South Africa. Serious question. How are South Africa going to win it from here?
They need someone to go really big here. You feel like they're really trying. They're just not able to find the boundary with regularity.
Glenn in bowls. Wolvart hits that over mid-wicket. The fielder has to come round. She won't get there. There's a much-needed boundary. And Laura Wolvart moves to 12, 83 for 2.
I've had some shocking predictions and stints on commentary. I walked in and said England on the TV and said England are going to want to kick on from here, and they lost 2 wickets in about 2 balls. Come in here, said South Africa are struggling to find the boundary. Promptly Laura Wolvart hits a 4.
Glenn into Wolvart, and that's a player miss outside the off stump. She turns in frustration. The game, of course, when Anya says she's on TV, she's on BBC 2 International. It's on there. You can pick your commentators. If you want to listen to us, you can mute them. As Glenn bowls, advances, hits up to long off. Laura Wolvart, she'll take a single. She moves to 13, 84 for 2. That's 13 overs gone, 84 for 2. At the same stage, England were 92 for 4. But you feel, there doesn't sound like a lot of difference there, but you feel South Africa will have to do a lot to match the end that England had. That final over from Sophie Eccleston going for 26 runs. They're going to have to, they've got a lot of work to do in the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just that over, it's the overs before that as well. Had an over of 13 there at the back end, an over of 9. There's some really, really expensive overs at the back, and if South Africa have got a batter that's in, they might be able to do that. They've batted with some real intent here, but like I said, they just haven't quite been able to find the boundary. They've hit a lot of really good shots straight out to the England boundary fielders.
Eccleston will be bowling to Wolvart, who's gone for a paddle. It's here on the pad. A cry for LBW and given. Anya Shrubsole's hands up. They've reviewed it. Laura Wolvart, I think she sent it upstairs. Yes, she has. So we will have another review, but that looked pretty in front. The only thing that could have been doing is missing leg stump again. I'll just put it out in the open.
Are you gonna actually get off your fence and say whether you think that's out or not out, or are you gonna wait for us all to give it out this time and say, oh well, I didn't? I've said it's out, so it's probably not out given my record today. But that didn't look like a comfortable shot for Wolvart. Eccleston bowling stump to stump.
Looks very out.
Okay, the ball is passing under the bat. I'd like to check with
the voice of Sue Redfern, the third umpire. As we watch the replay, we'll obviously check if there's ultra edge first.
Thank you. Okay.
In the commentary box, they're always putting their hands up.
Keep playing, please. Clear gap between the bat and ball. All the way through pad, please. Okay, satisfied, no bats involved. Ball tracking.
I'm losing confidence.
What are you losing in? Here we go, ball tracking.
Outside, impact in line.
Wickets hitting. Back to Rob on field, please. Rob, stay with your decision of out. Stand by. Signal out now, please.
And you felt that South Africa reviewed on who was at the crease, didn't you? Wolvaardt, she's the big wicket, she's in form. But that was very out, hitting middle and off.
Quite comprehensively out. The first one I've got right today. That ball seemed to be on the way back down on Hawkeye. It made very little sense, but either way, not a great shot from Laura Wolvaardt. You see what she's trying to do. There's no 45 in place for Sophie Eccleston, and she was just trying to help it round the corner. Sophie Eccleston's a really hard player to sweep. She hits the stumps so often. Such a high risk shot.
I'm going to put this to you now. We've got Mignon du Preez coming to the crease with 7 overs to go, and we still haven't seen Chloe Tryon, who can clear the boundary ropes. Why?
I don't know is the honest answer. I thought they missed the trick the other day with not sending her in after that 100-run partnership. I'd have sent Chloe Tryon in then. You think if South Africa are with a chance of winning this game, they need to really put some pressure on England, give them something to think about, and Tryon would seem like the best placed person to do that.
Yes, 84 for 3 then, as Eccleston into du Preez, who cuts that into a vacant cover. Kemp comes round and prevents the single. Very agile fielder. Happy with how she's bowled so far, Anya?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with her. She's bowled exactly how she's bowled in pretty much every game I've seen so far this season.
Eccleston left arm over in, and that this time does find Dunkley at the on the cover boundary, so it'll be a single. And that's Mignon du Preez off the mark. 85 for 3 South African. Require 177 to win. We're in the 14th over. Just changing the field to Brits. Long off, long on, deep mid wicket and deep square leg out. And Brits is on 47 as Eccleston in, and that's hit down the ground, chipped up and over Eccleston, and Brunt does the fielding. Brits will move to 48. 86 for 3 South Africa. Mignon du Preez, a busy player, will knock the ball about, run hard.
She's added a real power element to her game, I would say, in the last kind of 12, 18 months. She's able to clear the boundaries, holds that quite high up on the handle.
She gives herself lots of room, and that's hit onto the onside. They come through for a quick single. England won't mind that. 87 for 3. One ball remains of this 14th over. Eccleston just having a word with Mignon du Preez as she walks past. Field again changed. So Brits, who's on 48, 46 deliveries. As Eccleston in, Brits advances and hits that up to long on. Will be a single. Good over from Sophie Eccleston again. She's bowled 3 overs, 1 for 15s. Very economical and picked up a wicket. But the score 88 for 3. And South Africa just not moving anywhere. Lost the wicket and just 4 runs from that over. Same stage. England were 100 for 4. As you hear the crowd under the lights, enjoying fantastic evening of cricket in Derby. Busy crowd, children buzzing about, adults enjoying what they're seeing. Children on their feet jumping under the pavilion as we look to our left, doing the little dance moves. And we're bringing pace back into the attack. How good was her first over, and how quick is she bowling?
Yeah, she's bowling with some real pace. I think T20 in particular is a format where you can just run in and bowl as fast as you can.
But she's a skillful bowler as well. She varied her pace with some slower balls. She's dyed her hair for the occasion today. She's gone from the brown to the blonde.
M&M vibes.
As Izzy Wong at the top of her mark then. Charges into Brits. Slower delivery, and that's played up to long on. That will be Brits' 50. And she'll enjoy that. Liz Ali said earlier she'd be well aware of what she's on. And Mignon du Preez will go and celebrate it as she lifts her bat and looks up to the sky. And her teammates applaud in the dressing room. Izzy Wong. Deep mid wicket, deep square leg, fine leg, and third cover, out to Mignon du Preez. Wong bowls, full delivery, that's worked into the onside. Sophia Dunkley comes round, fields it on the bounce, so will just be a single. 90 for 3, South Africa.
It's been an odd innings. You feel like South Africa have come quite hard at England. Yet they still need 87 off the remaining 5.4 overs. So it's hard to know kind of where they can really go, where can they step up a gear here.
Izzy Wong charging in past the umpire, bowls, and that's hit into the onside. They won't get to as Danny Wyatt's so quick to the ball. Mignon Dupree wants it, run into the danger end, but the answer's no. 91 for 3. I feel like it's been positive though. They have showed intent. They have tried to go after the England bowlers, but England's fielding again has been superb. South Africa had some misfields, just not quite the standard that England are showing. They need 177 to win. Wong bowls, and that's hit down the ground, nearly takes out her opposition Brits, her opposing batter. And Sophie Eccleston can't do anything at mid-on, but that's 4 runs, and that was hit hard by Mignon Dupree. That's that power you were talking about, Anya. 95 for 3.
Yeah, that's a really good shot down the ground. Probably not the length that Izzy wants to be bowling with this field, mid-on and mid-off up in the ring, and Dupree has taken full advantage of that and nearly cleaned up Brits in the process.
That's horrible, isn't it? I can always remember when I played men's cricket, standing at the non-strikers end, you do feel vulnerable, but Brits was there. Look how hard Dupree hit that. Wong in again, bowls, and that's worked to mid-wicket. Will just be a single as Sophie Eccleston comes round. One ball remains of this 15th over. South Africa need 81 off 31. You feel that's just getting away from them there.
You feel the only one who could do that is Chloe Tryon, and she's still sat in the dugout, so it needs one of these to... It's almost boundary, trying to hit a boundary every ball. If you get out, it's not the end of the world.
Go hard or go home. Izzy Wong into Brit. She's gone for a reverse paddle. There's a fielder there. Kemp comes in, shies at the bowler's end. Izzy Wong gets her hand to it, and they scurry through for a single. That's 15 overs gone there, 97 for 3. And to see you home, Pete, Daniel Norcross.
None of the South African batters have really been able to get above that strike rate of 100. England have done a really good job of containing them. Even Brits, who's got a 50, is 52 off 50 balls, and just need to go a bit quicker than that.
Yeah, bless her. I mean, she's not only come back into the team. You sort of wonder, having watched the lacklustre displays that South Africa have had, might they have deployed her a bit earlier? I don't know. I suppose it was tricky when they'd lost so many senior players, and just you would say that on the way that Sinalisa's played in these matches, you might have preferred to have a bit of Brits. She strapples up to long on. This next ball up to Eccleston for a single.
I swear the strapple only happens when I'm on commentary.
Yeah.
Now I've said I'm not a huge fan of it. Most balls seems to be a strapple.
Are you not a fan of the shot or the word?
The word.
The word. Well, I'll see if I can control myself. Full dugout, no strapple there. Back to the bowler, and there's no run.
Doesn't seem like you tried very hard there, Dan.
Well, I did. Yes, true. Did that come out loud? 98 for 3. Mignon Dupree on strike. I'm with Anya. I thought that Chloe Tryon might have been given a burst. See what she could do. She's one person we know can hit it out the ground. We saw her do it at Northampton. Siver in. This has been worked up nicely along the ground by Dupree up to Eccleston at long on. It was another full ball aiming for the block hole here is Siver. But only one more. 99 for 3. This challenge is rather ebbing away. 77 needed from 4.4 overs. Without perhaps the right batters at the crease. Dupree on 8 off 7. Siver is into her. She moves across her stumps, and that's more like it. Cuts it through the hands of short, fine leg. Sarah Glenn is going to have to run after it. She wouldn't have had to run after it if she'd stopped it, but she got 2 hands to it. And she does haul it back in just inside the boundary. 2 more to the total. 100 is up. 101 for 3. Dupree moves with that, I think, to double figures. The scoreboard's a little bit lacklustre. Well, actually, I beg your pardon, it was Brits, that's why. She's moved to 55. They keep on changing who it is from the TV to the scoreboard. It's very upsetting. Siver in again to Britt. Oh, it bowls a bouncer, which is well taken by Amy Jones. She's taken a few of those today. She nearly got a stumping with a bouncer. She's saved 4 wides standing up. She's standing up, Jones, when Siver's bowling a quicker ball. Would she give a little signal at all?
No, she wouldn't.
I'd want her to. Siver in. Down the wicket comes Brett. Whacks this out towards deep mid-wicket, but Brunt is out there, and they just pick up one more. So throw comes in on the bounce to the non-striker's end. 102 for 3 at the end of the over. Another parsimonious one from Nat Siver. 2 overs, none for 15. Her 102 for 3 after 16. Are you off? That was quick. I was going to ask you, just tell me about the signals. Did you ever signal?
Well, for starters, I didn't bowl bouncers. So
No.
it's
Bouncers
too
is-
much like hard work. But at the time, I pretended that I might. I asked Jones if she'd want a signal. She said, "No, don't worry about it. I've got it."
I'll work it out.
And she does. There's no doubt about that.
Spot on. Thank you, Annie. You ought to do TV. No, I think you should. I don't think we've had our money's worth yet. Get next door. Do even more. Right. It's going to be Sarah Glenn to come in off 2 or 3 paces to bowl her leg breaks. The first ball is swept away out to deep backward square leg for a single. 103 for 3. World Cup winner Georgia Elwys has rejoined me
Hello.
as New Zealand's challenge rather fizzles out here. It'll just be about seeing how close they can get, but 74 or 4 overs is not going to happen, as this has been slashed high in the air but without timing by Dupree out towards wide long off. They'll get through for a couple of runs. So throw comes in, a wild one, but it's backed up. 105 for 3. It's been a sensational day in many ways, England losing a wicket off the very first ball of the match, but one of the most sensational things about it, Freya Kemp's debut, yes. Alice Capsey, another 17-year-old playing down a wicket. Comes Dupree and flicks this out towards deep mid-wicket. She'll get 4 for it. Really well played shot. She found the gap between square leg and deep mid-wicket and picked up a boundary. 109 for 3. Some late resistance. Dupree moves to 15. But yes, I'd say that perhaps one of the most notably, startlingly brilliant things about today was Jack Rule's millionaire shortbread come whatever we want to call that concoction of utter wonder. In comes Glenn. This has been carved into the hands of extra cover, where Capsey takes the catch with no trouble at all. It was hit pretty firmly around about shoulder height by Dupree. It was short. She went back into a crease and thwacked it, but Capsey was there waiting on the edge of the circle, and she took it as cool and calmly as you like. She's got a wicket for England, she's got a catch for England, and now she then runs for England. So she's filled up every column, as well as most importantly a cap. And South Africa are 109 for 4.
Yeah, it was a good catch from Capsyn. She was very casual with it, wasn't she?
Yeah.
But sat deep on that circle, so difficult for Dupree to pierce a gap. But a little cameo from her comes to an end, and you've been waiting for Chloe Tryon to come in all day, haven't you?
Well, I cannot understand how after 16.4 overs, or 100 as we call it in August, 100 balls of a 120 ball challenge, your biggest hitter, your longest hitter, the person who has a muscle memory of whacking a really impressive 80-odd at Northampton only about a week and a half ago, and she's captain, has left herself stuck in the dugout all this time. It doesn't make any sense to me, Georgia.
Well, no, it doesn't at all. So at least, unless she's just going for something really special. She's
I mean,
backing
look at that
herself.
strike rate. She's got a strike rate of 137.
Yeah, it's silly, isn't it? It's another one of those reactive things that South Africa just haven't done. They haven't been positive in their approach. They're not willing to change their order.
Needing 177 to start with. She defends the first ball off the front foot, back to the bowler. There's no run, so what do I know? But as Hypercourse pointed out on Twitter, this would be South Africa's highest run chase if they'd got to it. So they need to do things differently. Glenn in, she goes back into a crease, punches off the back foot, but can't beat Capsey at extra cover on the edge of the ring. And there's no run. End of the over, 17 gone. 3 remain. South Africa 68 runs short of their target. Needed entirely improbable, though not impossible, 22.66 and over. And it's not going to happen. But it's been another fine performance from England. It's been a decent performance from South Africa in certain areas. But, I mean, their fielding let them down quite badly, I think, today. Do you concur?
Yeah, and I actually think that the fact that they only used 5 bowlers and that team selection in only picking 5 bowlers, because we saw Masa Bataclass get some real treatment today. She was going to 15.5 and over for her 4 overs, and I think if they'd had another option, they wouldn't have had to go back to her for that last over, of which of course England scored 26 off, and I think that was always going to go that way because of how she'd bowled previously. So their fielding let them down. I think their tactics with the ball and certainly their execution with the ball, but the plans didn't seem great in the first place.
They didn't really, unfortunately. Freya Kemp is going to start a new over from the racecourse ground end, and she bowls a slower wide ball which is outside edged down towards the fine deep third boundary for just a couple of runs. A good effort to save the boundary there, because it was so slow, didn't go that quickly down towards the boundary, and Siver has chased after that and hauled it in about 2 yards, if that, inside the boundary sponge. 2 more to the total, 111 for 4. Brits on 59. She faces up to Kemp now. Kemp has another slower ball. It's been hit high down towards long on and is taken. Eggleston pouches the catch. Kemp gets her second wicket, and South Africa are 111, I beg your pardon, 111 for 5. Sophie Eggleston had to make a fair bit of ground to her right at long on to take the catch, which she did two-handed, and Kemp will be delighted with that. It was another slow ball, just out the back of the hand, that. She's landed that just the right spot on a round off stump. A big swing from Brits, but she was through the shot a bit too early. Didn't get the distance, got the elevation, but that's what got her out. 111 for 5.
Yeah, it was a fantastically disguised slower ball from Freya Kemp. So hard to pick that one out the back of the hand because the seam position is presented exactly like the quicker ball is, and I wonder if she just didn't pick that up until it was too late and she was already through the shot. It was a good catch actually by Sophie Eccleston, wasn't it? Because she did have to cover a little bit of ground, and when you're on the move, it's not easy to take those ones off balance. But second wicket there for Freya Kemp, and she's taken to this international cricket like it's nothing.
She has, hasn't she? 17 years and 92 days old, and she's just bowled the perfect out of the back of the hand slower ball. I don't know how there are enough years in your life to have perfected that by then. It seems ridiculous. I remember seeing Jade Dernbach bowl that pretty much for the first time about 12 years ago. So
yep.
I suppose she's been brought up her entire life with people bowling that ball. But,
yep.
But it takes some nerve to
absolutely
pull it off. Because it's not the match situation is the thing. It's just you can look pretty stupid
yep.
if that flies out.
Yeah.
Goes way up into the air. Right, Tucker is the new bat. Tryon and Tucker, neither have scored yet, as Kemp is in. And a swing and a miss from Tryon. The batters had crossed, so Tryon's on strike. She's lurched herself at that and missed it. Jones takes standing up to the stumps. But yes, just back to Jack Rule's Millionaire Shortbread. It was sensational.
Oh.
I think it was. Who described it as? Did Anya say it was the best shortbread she'd ever had in her life?
Yeah, that is high praise, isn't it?
That is the highest of praise. Kemp in again. Another slower ball is flicked away out to deep mid wicket. Brunt will come in off the boundary to keep the scoring to 112 for 5. The target 65 runs away off 14 balls. You're going to have to get quite a lot of sixes to make that happen.
Good maths.
Yes. Well, 8 sixes, 4 fours. What does that get us to? 64, a dot and a 1.
Easy.
When you put it that way. Kemp in, another slower ball swing and a miss, this time from Tucker. And there's no run.
There's your dot.
There's your dot, exactly. Got that out of the way. Get that out of the way. Get that out of the way. Now we need to see a boundary. Or a single, I suppose. Just to keep them in it.
Yeah. Optimism at its finest.
Kemp in with 4 fielders in the ring on the offside. And Tucker gets a short ball which she clatters into the offside, and that has gone through Capsey. Unusually, she's fielded very well today, but she's going to concede 4 runs there. It was hit at her, and it's just gone under her body as she sprawled to her left to field, and there is the boundary. 116 for 5. Tucker off the mark with that. 2 overs remain. 61 more required for victory, but there's a very happy Freya Kemp there. And I mean, it is startling, isn't it, that somebody of this age has got all these tricks. I suppose that's modern cricket, isn't it?
It is. It's something that's quite frightening, really. But you're right. It's so right. It's what they're brought up on. I mean, we saw Alice Capsey in the 100 last year playing all the ramps and the reverses and the scoops and things that I only learnt a couple of years ago, they're growing up on, and it's just a normal shot for them, and it's not something that they see as high risk because they just view it as like a cover drive, or that slower ball she just views as a stock ball. It's just in their armoury now, and they've got that bravery to use it, and then the skill to execute it as well.
Well, this is great. England are finishing off here. We've had the 17-year-old Kemp. We've got the, what is she, 19? Izzy Wong?
Yeah.
19-year-old Wong is going to bowl the 19th over. May yet have Kemp back for the 20th. Capsey's just bowled the 1 over, as she did a couple of days ago down in Worcester. So Wong comes in from the city end, right arm over the wicket. That's a swing and a miss from Tryon. She gets a bit of pad on it, and they scamper through for a leg by. 117 for 5. A word or two on Tasmin Brits, back in the side after a little while, not used in previous matches. Compiled a really good 59 though. Looked like, maybe she could have been the answer all along up near the top of the order.
I know.
They're trying to turn Lara Goodall into an opener. Is that the right move? You know what I mean? Wong into Tucker, down the leg side, and that's flicked away off a bit of bat, I think, out towards deep square leg. I'm waiting to see the umpire signal. It's slightly obscured here, but it was, I think, toe end of bat. One more to the total, 118 for 5.
Yeah, she certainly played a good innings today, didn't she? Held it together really for the South Africans, and she'd had Chloe Tryon batting at the other end, hitting sixes. Could be a completely different story, couldn't it?
It really could. Do you want to go and coach them, Georgia? Wog in. This has been smeared from outside off stump. It was a slower full ball. It's made its way out to deep mid wicket somehow, which is quite the effort. There's a long way wide of off stump. 2 more to the total, and now 57 needed from 9. It'll take wides and no balls. I mean, it'll take a lot more than that. It'll take magical thinking as well, but
Yep. It's a long way off.
It is. 4 in the ring on the offside. Fine leg is up. Wong is in to try on. There's another slower ball and a swing and a miss again, this time through to Amy Jones. England have used the slower ball almost exclusively, actually, towards the back end here with their seamers.
And it's brilliant, isn't it? Because it's that back of the hand slower ball. You get the variation with the dip, with the bounce that you get off it, and it's so hard to pick it. You don't pick it up till so late that it's so hard to react to. That seems to be the slower ball that is doing the most damage for the South Africans. It's bewildering them.
And if she sets herself for it, it'll be the quick one, won't it? That one's down the leg side. Well, that'll be 4 wides. There's 5 wides. There's the magical thinking. 52 now required from 8 balls. That was just slipped out the hand and went too far wide of leg stump for Amy Jones to stand a chance with. 125 for 5.
Yeah, and Izzy Wong there's just signalled to Amy Jones that she wants her to go and stand back. So that was brave of Amy Jones standing up to Izzy Wong bowling over 70 miles an hour. But I think to allow Izzy Wong, sorry, I should say, to bowl the...
you say whatever you like.
to bowl the slower balls and the Yorkers, she needs Amy Jones stood back. And a change in the field. What we've got now, a fine leg out.
Everybody's out the leg side apart from mid-on. And we've got a sweeper on the offside boundary, and then 4 in the ring on the offside. Mid-off's quite wide. Wong in for full run, and she whacks that in. It's been clattered out towards deep mid-wicket for 4. That's the problem with pace on against Tryon. She likes the pace, and she hits it for 4.
Yeah, it was a good shot. She knew what was coming, didn't she? She got herself way outside that leg stump, opened that front leg up to give herself that room. Izzy Wong bowled a lot of short bowling at Tryon throughout this series, and has got her out a few times with it, so Tryon wiser to it this time. Yeah, she got a good piece of that, didn't she?
She did. Sort of pull, really, you would call it. But you're right, she cleared all legs and then just threw her hands through the ball. So now mid-on's going back, fine legs going up, deep mid-wicket, deep square leg as sweeper. Those are the boundary riders. Wong in, last ball of the over bowls, another slower ball which goes through on the bounce to Amy Jones, completely bamboozles Tryon. That's clearly the way to bowl at her, but that's it for Izzy Wong for today. She finishes up with South Africa 129 for 5 with 1 over remaining. South Africa 48 short of the target. Even that last over of 26. Well, she can now feel Mathemata class that she didn't necessarily lose her side of the game there, but she did go for 62. She'd gone for 30.
It's completely different,
that's
isn't it?
16 off the last over suddenly, isn't it?
Completely different, and I think 150 as well is so different psychologically to 175, and that may have really changed the way that the South Africans went about the run chase. But that momentum going in, 26 off 1 over, it's outrageous.
Eccleston, the woman who hit those runs, is in for the last over of the day, and a first ball is swept out to deep square leg on the bounce for a single by Tucker, which will bring Tryon onto strike. This could be fun here. So let's take a look at the field. Chloe Tryon's going to try and get it up and over the infield. We've got a wide long off, a pretty straight long on, deep extra cover and a deep mid wicket. Those are the boundary riders. And she goes hard at this and squirts it away through deep backward square leg. It's being pursued by Maya Boucher. She will cut it off, and they get back for a couple. To squeals of delight.
It's been a good crowd, actually, hasn't it? There's been a couple of instances where they've done some regulation fielding, but they've really enjoyed it and showed their appreciation for it.
I think it's a pretty big crowd here for Derby, and there's a lot of kids here playing in the concourses down below us. As Eccleston is in, tosses this up, and Klein doesn't really time this as she drives up to long on, where Siva does the fielding. 3 balls remain, the last knockings of this series, which England are going to win by 14 points to 2. It could have been 16-0 if the rain had stayed away, but it didn't. As Eccleston's in again, and that's a big heave and a miss. I don't know how that has missed stumps, but it's rolled down very fine on the offside. Fred Kemp tidies up. 1 more to the total, 134 for 5. 2 balls left. Just seen that again. So a bit of there's bat onto pad, and it misses the off stump by half a ball's width. And Amy Jones might have actually caught that as well, just about. A big sweep across the line. Is going to run away towards the boundary. It's running down there. Will get there this time. It does. Nothing Sarah Glenn can do about that. 4 more to the total, 138 for 5. So with 1 ball left, South Africa 39 runs short of the target. It's probably time we did reflect on what has been a dominant display by England throughout this series. South Africa obviously suffering from the lack of Dane van Niekerk, latterly of Marizanne Kapp, Lizelle Lee through a lot of it. 3 big names, and Mignon du Preez, of course, not playing in the ODIs and the Test match. As Eccleston comes in to complete the match and the series, she bowls her. Tryon goes for a big heave, swing, miss, and another wicket for Sophie Eccleston. She'll be delighted with that. And England have won by 38 runs. In truth, it was virtually never in doubt. South Africa were on top after the first ball when Sophia Dunkley was caught at backward point off Mlaba by Wolfhart for a duck, but almost immediately Alice Capsey and Danny White counter-attacked, and you always thought England were going to get a score that was going to be too big on what's a pretty good pitch and a very, very fast outfield. It was just cemented by that last over of 26 runs coming from it when Sophie Eccleston smashed Masabata Class to terrible figures of 1 for 62, and really a target of 177, which would have been South Africa's biggest winning chasing total. Never looked likely to happen, partly through South African tactics, partly because England's bowlers are just too good, I think, for this lineup. It's been a dominant display. England have won the series by 14 points to 2, and they will go to the Commonwealth Games with an enormous amount of confidence. Georgia Elwes.
Yeah, and it was quite fitting, wasn't it, that the final wicket of this T20 was a wicket for Sophie Eccleston, a wicket for England, and I think that summed up really how the series has gone. England will be full of confidence. They had a difficult winter. I mean, the Ashes in Australia and then the World Cup managed to turn their fortunes around at the end of that tournament, but they've come into this summer against a good South African side and they've completely dominated. They have looked back to their best. They've, like we said, blooded new players, and the youth of England, it looks very promising, exciting. We've had debutantes, and yeah, I'm really excited for what's to come next week.
Well, there was a 100-run opening partnership in the last game at Worcester, and South Africa really needed that today in pursuit of 177. Instead, England picked up a wicket in the very first over when Izzy Wong bowled Lara Goodall for 2 from 3 balls. Annika Bosch made 17 off 20 before she was brilliantly stumped by Jones off Kemp. It was just a terrific piece of work, bringing the ball up from shoulder height down onto the stumps. A rapid ball outside the off stump. Bosch went for 17 off 20. Laura Wolfhart, really big wicket. LBW to Eccleston. She referred it, but to no avail. She made 13 from 11. Mignon de Prier came in ahead of Chloe Tryon, made 15 from 11. Looked pugnacious, but couldn't get the job done. She was caught sharply by Capsey off the bowling of Glenn on the edge of the ring at extra cover. That was 109 for 4. And then Tasmin Brits, 59 from 56 on her return to the side, was caught by Eccleston down here just in front of us at wide long on. Another good catch, making room to her right. She went for 59, and I wonder if she might have been used a little bit earlier in this series. You never know. Chloe Tryon then, the last one to go off, the very last ball, bowled by Eccleston for 14, leaving Del Murray Tucker unbeaten on 7. England's bowling figures: Wong, expensive, but she picked up that wicket in the first over, 1 for 40 off 4. Catherine Brunt, I've forgotten she was playing. 2 overs, none for 11, 2 overs unused there. Freya Kemp on debut, aged just 17 years and 92 days. Well, she's got a T20 international average of 9, and she's an economy rate of 6. Not bad for a 17-year-old. 3 overs, 2 for 18. Sophie Eccleston, dependable, reliable as ever. 4 overs, 2 for 24. Sarah Glenn bowled her full 4 overs, 1 for 23. Nat Siver only bowled the 2 overs, none for 15. Capsey, 1 over, none for 4. A measure of England's dominance that Brunt and Siver had 4 overs left unbowled. Commonwealth Games starts on Friday.